damn good time podcast. Yeah. It's a damn good time podcast.
Say what?
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm Steve Schaefer.
I'm Cody Adams.
I'm Scott Paris.
And this is a damn good time podcast.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Cody. Yes.
Hit him with it.
And oh my God, it's like we fucking planned that. Sometimes we'll have to cue out of the music, but whenever it just happens like that, it's magic. And I bring it up every time. I know,
and I told you need to make it just a natural thing, like we planned it, but we just nail it every time.
I wrote it that way.
Yeah. So first off, we got a new guy in the studio here.
Hell yeah.
He is the amazing, the one and only. He's the frontrunner guitar of Imaginary Cookies. He's been featured in Hey Monet, in the Tin Band, in Phase. He's got a solo project. You'll find him as Scott Paris on all your listening apps. He's a podcaster and now an author of the new book, A Guitar Called Harry V and the Cover Band Conundrum. Give it up for Scott Paris.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me.
We really need an applause button for this because
Two's all you need.
Yeah.
All you need.
We got a guy in the studio with us.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
fucking cool, man.
It's nice to be on this side of. It's cool to see this side of the camera.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I walked in. I was like, I know this room. And we went to the bar. I was like, wait, I know this room. So that was cool.
And then we also have a whole lot going on this episode because it's also Cody's 40th birthday.
I just turned 40.
Cody motherfucking Adams made it to 40.
Your post on Facebook brought a little tear to my eye. Not gonna lie, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And Steph goes, my wife, Steph goes, God damn it, Steve wins every time.
Well,
Did you look at her and say, where was your sentimental post for me today?
She had beautiful one about me being a great father and yada yada yada. But Steve's just
he's
hilarious.
got beautiful kids.
That's awesome.
And so if you haven't seen it, you're holding a weapon. You know?
Yes.
Don't want to say any weird flag words.
A toy
weapon.
thing.
And then I put a big sticker of a remote or a video game controller over it to kind of, but you can actually see it's. But I didn't want to get a flag for having a weapon in a post or whatever. But I thought it was fucking hilarious.
It was hilarious. It was good. I loved it. So thank you.
And then that being said, with Scott Paris here on the show with us,
Yeah.
we've got a little surprise for you.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Let me see if my cord will stretch. I didn't plan that part of it. Actually, I didn't plan that part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay.
You might know this one. Steve,
Okay.
sing along if you've heard this. Have you heard this one?
I may or may not have.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Cody MF Adams.
Yeah. Happy birthday to you.
Beautiful. Thank you. I feel like you guys rehearsed the shit out of it.
Yeah. We practiced.
He said, let's sing happy birthday. I said, can we do it like Marilyn Monroe? He says, we have to. Fuck yeah, we have
100%.
to. We have
Well, I thought I had a blonde wig in the Halloween tote,
The pull out.
and I couldn't. I don't anymore.
I had one too for different reasons, but I couldn't.
That was beautiful, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, man. Happy fucking birthday, dude.
I know. It's.
Did you ever think you'd see 40?
Yeah, I figured I'd get there at least,
Yeah.
50, 60. Oh, man, those are different.
Those are a
marks,
gamble.
but-
Yeah, it's a gamble.
It was a gamble of dice, but
Well, I always like to make a joke because I always say, I never plan on living this long. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Hey, do you have a 401k? I guess when I was 35, I started it. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing.
I know. I was having this conversation with somebody. It's like, and they're like, do you feel 40? I'm like, no, I think I'm still 25. We're all still 25. I said, things hurt.
Yeah. I just said that to that kid that's 22 with us.
Yeah.
And I said, I said, what you don't understand is, because he talked about getting a tattoo. He's going to ink at the clink, or what do they call it now, incarceration.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been there a couple times. I said, you got tattoos? He says, no, I'm scared to get something because I don't know what I'll like, in the long run. And I said, just get it. I said, when I was you, I thought the same thing, which is why I don't have any. I said, now I'm twice your age. I like the same stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And 20 years from now, I'll probably still like that. I said,
Right.
You're already fully baked. You're a person. Like, you're already in there. All that changes is your body hurts more.
Yeah.
I said, in my head, you and me are the same age. It's just I can prove that I'm not.
Right.
But otherwise, our mentality is the same.
And do it now when you
Get
heal
the tattoo.
better.
Yeah, get the tattoo. Waste your money.
Right.
When you're 40, it's not as easy. When you're 60,
Real
probably
quick,
not.
speaking of tattoos, and I know we got a lot to talk about, but
Yep.
I just saw that the liquid nitrogen tattoos where they like cold put it like basically a stamp, like a cattle prod, and this is where it came from
Okay.
because they do this to cows. They put it in liquid nitrogen and then bam, right on your skin. So you
Okay.
get branded basically. You're branding in liquid
Yeah.
nitrogen, but instead of heating it up, you do it cold because then it doesn't hurt as bad. I'm sure afterwards it hurts like hell because you just froze your skin, and then the scarring looks a little hideous. But at first, it's like this bright white tattoo. It's pretty wild. But yeah, liquid nitrogen tattooing.
Oh, that's probably more of that one right there.
Yeah.
So does it end up red like that?
I think it ends up more like a branding, almost like that one.
Right. Yeah, your skin's still gonna
like
scar
like
and
a pale
bubble and,
color.
and do stuff like that. It's not like a tattoo with ink, but it's like
It's kind of a tribal thing. It almost looks like Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Like what tribes would do or something.
so.
Well,
they-
yeah, it almost ends up almost exactly like a brand, probably. Then, yeah.
I think from what I saw, I wasn't sure, but I think they were doing it on cattle farms to make it easy on the cattle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they didn't get as crazy. So they'd shave the cattle and like, because once I Googled it, it was like, that's what they're doing to cattle now to put their brand on the cattle or the number, whatever, da. And then people started doing it, of course. Of course. Hit me with that shit.
Is that legal? Can I do that?
Yeah. I'm 12 beers deep. Hit me with that cold.
Sign me up.
And I think even with the cattle and the horses and stuff, like when it heals, their fur grows back white.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that top one.
Yeah,
Top-
so it doesn't even like
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
that
so-
one. Yeah, it just the fur grows back like white.
So if I branded my whole back, I wouldn't look as furry.
yeah, your back hair just
A
comes
bunch
out.
of gray hair would grow right
And that
white hair.
I've been waiting for that day, and I can now egg it along a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. It's a good move.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
the
But yeah,
stuff laid out.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
I know. I just saw that yesterday. I'd never seen it before, so I don't know. But
So he's
Yeah.
saying he would do that live on the show.
oh,
Okay.
hell no,
Some liquid nitrogen, or it's hot brand each other.
no.
I've got one.
I mean,
Won't show up on camera, but
yeah, you did the forks.
I've got 4 prongs right there from a hot fork being stabbed in my shoulder. Me and Jordan Chumney did that.
Yeah, I was there when you dipshits.
No, I was a lot dumber when I was younger, but you'll have that. It wasn't cold; it was hot.
Real hot.
Yeah, but so being that we have a guest on the show, we're promoting his new book, and I did actually do some structure to the show.
That's awesome.
I got a couple questions for it.
We don't really do
No,
that.
you don't have to do that.
I know, but I felt like
We
I
should,
had to.
but we don't.
No. That's what makes these things fun is when they're kind of free form.
Well, even
Yeah.
even when we used to structure, because we
Yeah.
did a lot of structure at the beginning, it would go off the rails in 5 seconds. There's no structure that can
Yeah.
hold us down.
So it's a guideline.
It's,
It's
yeah, it's more of a
they're
yeah.
suggestions.
Yeah,
bullet points.
yeah.
You guys were locked in on
Yeah,
that.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a bullet point.
So, first question I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Briefs. You show up. Okay, you're a brief guy.
And
yeah.
second question. I like the support system.
Yeah. So you show up, and I'm wearing an Imaginary Cookies
I love
T-shirt.
Yeah, I love that shirt.
I don't want to move the.
No.
But
Oh
stand
yeah.
up.
Check that out.
Yeah, if you're watching, you can see it.
Yeah. So I got to ask you.
Yes.
It's always kind of been a concert faux pas thing for you to wear the band's T-shirt of the band you're going to see.
Yes.
Being an artist, how do you view that? Do you look out in the crowd and see your T-shirt and like, what a douche? Or
No,
do you
I
think
love
like,
it.
fucking A, right?
I love it.
It's only like,
So I'm fully aware of that taboo.
Taboo,
Yeah,
yeah.
taboo. Couldn't think of the word. I'm fully aware of it, and I've been against it. So
Okay.
I do wear the band shirt to the gig,
Yeah.
and I also wear my own band shirts all the time.
Yeah.
The only ones I won't wear are like the ones that say Scott Paris, because that's right where it's like, okay, that's too weird. So like when I did a record called Functional, I had a shirt that had the record cover on the front, and I don't wear that shirt
Yeah.
because it's maybe too weird. But like Broken Transmitter, Imaginary Cookies, French Donkey, I love it. And for me, like back in the day when there was kind of a scene, I mean, there's probably a scene now, I'm just not in it. But
Yeah.
like when it was my time to be in a scene and there was lots of bands playing all the same areas, we would go out and watch other bands on nights where we didn't have a gig, and we would wear our own shirts, and we were almost like a pirate crew. I mean, that emblem was like, that's my gang. That's my dudes. And we would wear our own shit. So I'm certainly not against it. And when people show up, I mean, like I was tickled to see it today.
Yeah.
And like at a gig, if I see 20 of those in a room, I know they're my people. They're my friends. They're for an anxiety level as a performer, it goes way down if I already know you like me, we're cool.
You got a bunch of support.
I don't have to win you over as hard because you know what we do, and you chose to come back, and at some point you bought a T-shirt. So even if I don't recognize the face, it's really cool.
Hey, thank you.
No, really, no, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's
no,
really
it's
cool to
just
see a room
the
and
thing,
go, okay, this is going to be a fun one because they know what we do. So now we can do it a little harder because I don't have to worry about pissing somebody off.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, you play for a room of strangers, and you get that a lot when you're doing restaurants or like casinos or like a room that it's totally random people. They didn't come to see you. You were just the hired guy.
Yeah.
Right.
First hour is me trying to feel it out. What can I get away with?
Okay.
Do they like this at all? So there's that like breaking the ice. And if you think you got them, you ramp it up a little. And if you're lucky, by the end, they're cheering or they're talking to you after the show. But to see that right off the rip, I love that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like,
just
if I
me.
go to-
I don't know if like
Like if I go
Metallica
to-
loves it, but
yeah, if
I
I go
love
to a
it.
Tool concert and the fans are like, "You're here to see Tool. Why are you wearing their fucking shirt? You know you're not supposed to." Like, because I like the fucking band, dude. Like, lay off.
Anybody
it's more
who
of like
would
a douchey fan vibe than it is the performer doesn't fucking care.
No, and well,
Okay.
because you spent money, so you helped them get to their next gig. You
Right.
bought their house.
I gotcha.
And if you love a band and you would give someone else shit for also loving that band, you suck. Like that's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you're just being a buzzkill.
yeah. The
Yeah.
nice thing about going to a gig, any gig, big, small, whatever, the nice thing should be you walk in and go, everyone in this room, I've got something in common. We all love this group for whatever reason. That should be a great.
What are you supposed to wear? Another band's shirt? Then it's
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Like,
This was funny. You might not be familiar with the bands. Well, you might. You like a lot of metal and stuff. I
Yep.
don't know if you like metal, Cody. But
not really.
there is an English death metal, black metal band called Cradle of Filth.
Yes,
Okay, so
familiar.
friends of mine, we've all loved them since high school. We went to see a different band called Dimmu Borgir. Do you know
Okay.
them?
Never heard of them.
Okay.
but
They're kind of a competitive. They do a similar thing. They look like vampires. They play the same kind of music.
yeah.
Well, the drummer of Cradle of Filth quit the band and joined Dimmu Borgir.
Okay.
So we went to see this other band, and my buddy has a Cradle of Filth shirt on.
yeah.
We saw the drummer outside smoking, and my friend goes up to say hi to him because it was like, oh shit, that's such and such. I forget the guy's name, but he kind of looks like Uncle Fester. He's a big bald headed guy.
Yeah.
And we go up, and he's putting out a cigarette, and my buddy Mike is like, dude, I'm such a big fan. The guy looks at his shirt and goes, he did that. He was like, and I don't remember if he talked to us though. I kind of remember him walking away.
Yeah. It is
And
kind of
Mike looks down at his shirt and goes,
Oh.
"This was a bad move."
Yeah.
So maybe don't wear the competitions.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like an
If
X
you-
band. Like
well,
if there's a weird fallout.
if you go see Tool, maybe don't wear a Perfect Circle shirt
yeah.
because then
Right.
maybe the other guys in the band see it and go, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're just here for Maynard. You don't like." I don't know if that's
Yeah.
a thing, but
Well, I'm sure it kind of is somewhere in some circles. I feel like once you're like a Tool, near that kind of stardom, like, okay, well, you support everything that he does, and us
Yeah.
too, like maybe. But yeah, I get that. It's where it's like,
yeah. No, usually if the singers run off with a side project, the other band guys are like, "I don't like it."
right.
And the people bitching, you probably have like 3 tattoos from that band, and it's like, well, you put it on your arm.
Yeah.
Can I wear it on a shirt?
Yeah, yeah.
But no, to me it's fine. But I do know there's a
There's a thing about it.
a thing about it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next question I got here. Very hard hitting question. We're going to talk about your inspirations.
I love it.
Obviously, that's never been asked of a musician before. I do think that it's very famously that you are one of your main inspirations is a local artist by the name of Kenny Black, right?
Love him. Black question. I love Kenny Black. Hi, Kenny.
No, sorry, that was a gag joke. But
I love Kenny.
Yeah, I know you do. But I was starting to for funsies.
I'm not in on that one.
But so then after that, like what were your kind of main inspirations? Like I know what you said you started when you were around 15, I think, from the book.
Well, I started playing guitar around 10 or 11.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I had a band by closer to like 14.
Okay.
Started writing songs and stuff. But I mean, that was, 1991, 92. So it was Nirvana.
Yeah.
I mean, what kid wouldn't
Right.
at that time?
Yeah.
Like I loved Jane's Addiction and Alice in Chains and Nine Inch Nails, basically anything that was alternative,
Yeah.
because it was all happening, and it was
Right.
the bands weren't cookie cutter. You could tell them apart. They all had a unique. Even all the ones that came from Seattle. I mean, to listen to Alice in Chains next to Soundgarden, next to Nirvana, next to Mudhoney, next to whoever.
Right.
They were very different
Yeah.
groups, and I mean, and then they went on to do very different things with their careers. But it was all happening at the same time, and
Yeah.
there was a really cool radio station called The End, 107.9 The End. It was
Okay.
out of Cleveland, and
I think I remember that.
it barely came in. You had to have a pretty decent radio to get in. It was kind of sketchy, but they played all that stuff. And even like deep underground cuts. Like the later into the evening it got, I think the DJs just said fuck it and
Yeah.
just played whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I ate it up. And
That's
I
awesome.
wanted to. I thought as a kid, like you think your shit's gonna live forever. I
Yeah.
thought this is the music that is forever. It's going to be like out with the 70s, no more Led Zeppelin, no
Yeah.
more 80s, no more Duran Duran. This is the
Disco's
new
dead.
shit.
Like,
Right.
This is the new shit, and then we rule the planet now, and this lasts forever until you get to like end of high school for me, like 99, 2000, and I didn't relate to anything. I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't really
Here
Limp
comes
Bizkit.
Nickelback.
I wasn't into that. I didn't. Obviously, then you've got Justin Timberlake's and your Spice Girls, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, everything that I like is already antiquated, and it's only been 4 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Tack on another 20 or 30, and I still.
And
kinda
you're not
feel
even that old yet.
no, that's what I mean. Yeah, to be 20 years old and go, I don't relate to any of this music.
Right.
I already feel like a granddad.
So then all that being said, like you got your inspirations, you start picking up music and you start learning. Was guitar and singing always kind of your shtick, or did you dabble in anything else, or you picked up the guitar and knew?
I always wanted to be a singer. I was really into Faith No More, if you remember Faith No More.
Yeah.
Their singer, Mike Patton, I still love him, but I mean, he was big inspiration. And it was basically, I saw the video for Epic and was like, I want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
It was a light bulb moment. Like, I want to do that. No one played. I didn't know anybody that played, nobody in my neighborhood. I didn't realize for a couple years after that 2 guys in my school did play because their dad was in a cover band. So I did start a band in school, but not initially.
Yeah.
So I only learned guitar so that I could have music to sing over.
Yeah.
So it was like piano or guitar, and guitar seemed easier. Because there again, Nirvana came out, and I went, oh, you can sing and play guitar, and that guy doesn't look like he's trying very hard.
Right.
And that's not like a diss to Kurt. It was how casual. It was how casual.
Right.
But a piano player looks like he's just
Going
going
to work.
for it. And I'm like, there's so many buttons and keys, and like, I don't think I have the brain for that. And this is a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. But this looks pretty easy.
Yeah.
So it was guitar, and then once I got okay at it, I never looked back. I can play the piano a little, I can play the bass, I can play the drums, but I only learned them enough to get ideas out and like record them.
Gotcha.
And then I gave them to better players and said, here's an idea. I wrote this whole thing, I played everything on it. Obviously it's not great.
Yeah.
The guitar and the vocals are cool. The drums are sketchy. Everything else is sketchy, but you can hear where I'm going.
Right.
And that's how I build all the bands.
Because that was actually going to be my next question: is did you ever actually then learn other instruments? Because if you don't know, we work together in our day jobs, and music will be on, and I just see you banging like a drum beat out on your bench, and it's like nail spot on, like you hitting everything, and it's like, okay, this motherfucker can play the drums too. Apparently,
Like,
like,
how many instruments can you play?
yeah.
I
So
dabble.
Yeah.
so I always wondered that. But you do piano, drums, bass, guitar,
Uh-huh.
sing.
I've tried other things. Like I bought a violin and tried to mess around with it. Not great.
Yeah.
It never really. Any of the bowed instruments didn't really
I
catch
gotcha.
on. But
Any woodwinds, like a little saxophone or
no, because I couldn't afford them. Like you got to buy the instrument to be able to screw around with it.
yeah.
And I just
That's what I was going to ask you. Did your parents kind of push you into
No.
a musical thing? Do they have any musical
no. Actually,
talent?
it's a little bit. There's a little bit of it in the book. My dad played guitar in kind of a high school cover band kind of thing. Whatever you would have done in the late 70s, or
Sure.
I guess mid 70s. Wore his hair a bit shaggy, wanted to play guitar in a band, like stuff I didn't know, because I mean, by the time I'm a kid, and I didn't know him then. It was before
Right.
I was born, and I always knew him to be pretty clean cut. He had a job at a factory and whatever. Never really, wanted me to do that too, but I didn't know it was because he already tried it.
Yeah.
And maybe
Sure.
it didn't work out super great. But it was his guitar that I'd found in a case, like hidden, like under a couch or in a closet or something.
No shit.
So there was a guitar in the house, but he never played it really. And my mom didn't really play anything. They enjoyed music, but nobody
Right.
said, you're going to take lessons. You need to whatever.
We're like excited for you when you started doing it, though. We're like, oh, okay. Or
Well, like I
it's
said-
kind of like, well, don't, you might be careful.
Yes and no. Yes and no. My mom always supported it. My dad, I think he was weary that, like the more I was like, this is what I'm going to do with my whole life. And I think his mind went to, you'll be broke the rest of your life. So he really tried to not, at first. And then when I started doing well and it was working and I was making money and I understood the business part of it
Right.
Yeah.
and took it seriously from that side, he completely was like, oh, okay. You were really going to like take it seriously and stuff and not just like smoke pot all day and like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or whatever. Like,
I'm riffing with the band, man.
yeah. Well, because I think, maybe not now. It seems like the kids are a different culture now, but certainly in the 90s, that could be one reason you'd want to play an instrument
Right.
because it looked like it was always a party
Yeah.
and there was always girls and you were always at the party and you were always the cool guy.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man.
Right. I
You
mean,
know?
yeah.
Like,
Anything from the 80s and stuff like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looked
yeah.
like, oh my God, I want to be on that bus doing that thing.
Yeah.
And that stuff does happen or it happened to those guys. But if that's the reason you started doing it, it's the wrong reason.
yeah.
Played the guitar on MTV.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
and it's one
Money
of
for
those things
nothing.
like
There were days.
we're all sitting here as dads too.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things too, like where your kid has a dream and it's like, yeah, that's an awesome dream. You should do that and pursue that. But
Yeah.
what about being
Electrician.
A lawyer.
Yeah.
A doctor.
yeah, doctor, lawyer, that'd be cool. But,
Doctor, lawyer, cop.
yeah, but I know you're not smart enough for that. But what about a carpenter? So, like, I see your grades, maybe not lawyer.
You ever check out plumbing?
yeah.
I've already done the same
HVAC,
thing.
baby, HVAC. That's the life for you. Come on, you could do it. And no slight to any of those professions.
No,
They're
no.
very good. Trades are fucking awesome.
They're far in demand right now. So.
Well,
But-
that's why you bring it up because it's solid.
Yeah.
I mean, everything you're saying is like, it's solid. Like,
it's one of those things too. Like, we still have day jobs, but we pursue our, like, I love doing this. I
Right.
love sitting here having a chat, not making any money off of it. You do the job that gets you money, and then and then you have to fucking like fall back on
Yeah.
your
Right.
passions and shit.
Yeah. Well, I had to split it down the middle. When we started having kids, like once my first daughter was born, it was shit or get off the pot. As
Yeah.
far as playing out in bars and all, I mean, like,
Right.
there's a baby at home.
Right.
So for me, that's exactly when I started playing covers full time.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity to do what I love, which was playing music. But the caveat was it had to be copy tunes and it had to be
Right.
more. It was less what I was going for, and it was more of a compromise,
Right.
maybe an extreme compromise. But I did that for 15 years. So 15 years, my job was playing music, and it was a proper job. I mean, I don't even remember what it is now, but it was enough thousands a year that it was a proper.
Yeah.
Livable.
And so maybe
Yeah.
like maybe almost kind of touch on that because like being a solo artist, creating original things, it's more of a I don't know. I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I may be speaking out of turn, but it's kind of more of a hit and miss, depending on who sees it, how it gets discovered, how big it gets.
Yeah, a lot of luck.
But you can go grind and be the cover band and make a living easy.
You did, yeah. So all day, I was home, warming up the milk bottles or taking the kids to the park and pushing them on the swings and that was like I got to do that.
Right.
Like
Awesome.
not many people can get to do that, and all I had to do to get to be with my kids all day was in the evening, 4 nights a week. I was at a restaurant or a bar or a winery or a casino or whatever, stuck in a corner singing copy tunes, hoping people liked it.
Right.
And it, sneaking my songs in every once in a while. But I mean, it's like being a server or a bartender. You make a couple $100 a night. Yeah. Sometimes you meet nice people. Sometimes you have a terrible time. I mean, it's really a lot of either. It's whoever's in the room.
Right.
And again, if I see shirts in the room, again, it's going, oh, good. I don't have to fight so hard tonight. But there are so many other nights where you're like, I don't think they like it. Can I get to 12 o'clock? If I can make it to 12 o'clock, they hand me my check. I can go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, I'm taking the kids out for waffles, and then we're going to the park. And
right. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
It was, I feel like I got away with something, you know what I mean? Just in that. So it wasn't rock stardom, but it was pretty cool for a while.
Yeah. And I almost kind of relate to that in a different way where like as a culinary artist, that's what I went to school for, I was a chef. I made more money working corporate gigs where I cooked their food, whereas whenever I do my own shit, it wasn't as fruitful.
Right.
So it's weird. Like you got to kind of do what makes the fucking money sometimes.
Play the hits. You got to play the hits.
You got to play the hits.
But I will say, the one and only time I saw you, apologize, busy man, especially with 2 3-year-olds. But
I understood
when I saw you, when you're putting your own twists, on those copies.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Like you have an amazing way to put a twist on songs. That was just like I remember looking at him and looking at our buddy, and we're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like that was like I was like, "This is worth it too." Your shit's great too, by the way. But,
no, thank you. No, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, that twist you were putting on stuff was also you had people roaring in that place. So
no, I got real lucky, and getting to twist things around and make them more mine, I guess, or here's my take on something. Because if the rule is, and we played this game from the beginning, trying to get in the cover thing, because I've seen so many, even the guys in the Cookies, we had seen so many cover acts that were just cheesy. And I mean, just the bad, cover band used to be a bad word in my group of friends. Like, well, I'll just join a fucking cover band, and that was like the lowest, the sellout. But then we thought, well, what do we hate about them? Okay, they dress up in goofy costumes, which can actually work if you're doing the right thing. But it's like...
Not like you've ever done that.
No, I do it all the time now.
I know,
But I laugh at it. If you're serious, like one of our buddies was in a Motley Crue tribute, and they dressed exactly like them. Yeah. And it's like, they're calling each other by those guys' names on stage. I'm like, I can't do that.
Right.
I just... Or hey, I'll give you $1,000 if you go out and play with this country band. Well, I don't like country music that well. So for me, that's like, it's going to feel so gross to me because I'm doing something so far out of what I love. But if I can take songs that I do really like, that are certified hits that I know and I can present them as if I wrote them. Like, here's maybe what I would have done.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play it well enough that you still recognize it. Then I feel like, there's the artistry, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
If I can sneak 100%. My DNA into enough of those songs, I don't feel gross going to bed that I just had made a pocket full of money off of Prince and Foo Fighters and Sheryl Crow and because that should be their money. They wrote the songs. So why did I get paid to sing their songs? Unless I put a little bit of that me in it.
That awesome,
and I don't even know if that's a free pass. And I talk about that in the book, but that helped me get through the bitter pill of, here's the only way you get to have a music career for 15 years. And you got to play someone else's. I'm like, okay, where are the rules? Where's the boundaries?
Right.
What can I play with this a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think of a Wayne's World reference whenever they're going, I think it was called like the Gas House. They're going and trying to watch that chick.
Tia Carrere?
Tia Carrere, trying to watch her band. And they're like, who's on first? Who's on right now? And they're like, the shitty Beatles. And like, are they any good? no, they suck. Like,
Right. Yeah. Yes.
like
Exactly.
that was their gimmick, was probably playing, I would imagine, Beatles covers or something.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, you didn't want to be the gimmick cover band, but
No.
like you still put your own spin on enough to where it fucking makes sense and it rocks and it's awesome. You know,
I mean, even with the cookies, the only rule is.
I've seen you guys twice and I fucking love it.
Thank you. Well, I say we're in T County, right? We used to do really well in T County.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
other than just Breitenbach, people used to like it pretty well out here.
You guys
But-
doing the Dandyland Fest again this year?
Yep. May 3rd, whatever that Saturday is. I want to say May 3rd.
We need to make a trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need
sure.
to go. I was there last year and it was a fucking fantastic time.
It should be. They give us so much freedom to just be ourselves. And that's another thing too, is the longer you stay in the game, or as far as like playing around,
Mm.
you really get to weed out the people that don't get it, as far as club owners and festival runners and things like that.
Right.
And we called the band Imaginary Cookies. We did that on purpose because it's goofy. And we learned that from a lot of bands that would play Put-in-Bay, like Lieutenant Dan's New Legs. And,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
there was some other ones, Killer Flamingos. And there's some other bands with these goofy names. And we thought, if our name's goofy, all the kind of, I don't want to say biker bar and I don't want to say hick bar, but like there's certain places we won't fit.
Sure.
So let's make
Yeah.
it to a right off the rip, they know they don't want us. And if
Right.
if we go to Billy's Backyard Harley Davidson, nothing wrong with that, but
Right.
we don't fit there. We don't
Well,
play Leonard
And
Skinner.
you're not playing that music.
Right. So if we're just the Scott Paris Trio or some kind of bland name that other people they use them, you don't know what we do, and everybody's going to ask us to play, and it's going to be the wrong fit a lot of times.
Right.
Right.
Imaginary Cookies only tend to get offers from places who already kind of get it. They
Right.
already kind of get, oh, I bet you're pretty fun. The only other thing they get that gets misconstrued is there has been a couple people thinking we were like a kids band, like for kids, like
Because of the
Imaginary
cookies.
Cookie Fun Time, like a Disney thing or something.
Yeah.
And I don't mind telling them, oh no, I'm sorry, we're for adults. Like this is a little more like dad's
Yeah.
party and not the kids' party. But I don't mind telling that. It's we've ended up in bars and people are going, oh, Blaze Skinner. I'm going, really? We just did a Cranberries song, and before that we did it. Like really? But so that was the rule. It's got to be fun. Like we don't even care what songs we play. Like
Right.
it's got to be somewhat popular so people know it, but that's the only rule. 70s, 80s, 90s, something brand new. We could do a Blue Oyster Cult song and then a Sabrina Carpenter song. It doesn't matter as long as it's super fun and we get to make it a little weird.
And I even
Right.
love you threw out Gorillas and you got the toy.
Melodica?
Yeah, the toy little thing and you're
Yeah.
fucking like live right there. It's like that's fucking cool shit.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
just fun.
The only rule is it has to be fun.
Yeah.
Because the second, with a cover band, again, it's because it's not your song. The second you take yourself too seriously and act like you really are as cool as the artist you're
Right.
covering, you've ruined any integrity chance that you had with it, I think.
Yeah.
Now, if it's your song, if we were playing a night of our own songs, or if I went to see someone else and they were really moody and they were in it, okay, cool. But you made this, so this is how you want to show me your song. I can, even if I don't like
Yeah.
it, I can get, okay, this is what you're showing me. But if I go see someone that's got that just brooding and they're going, I'm a creep, and it's like, only Tom York gets to do that. You can't pretend to be Tom York moody.
Yeah.
Like you have to just sing it like
is
you would sing it.
karaoke
Yeah,
now.
this isn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
This is the guy who came to karaoke with prepared notes and a harmonic in his pocket because he already knew. And it's like you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Have
I got
fun.
I got one more for you, and then you.
That's
sorry.
cool.
Sorry, I kind
Yeah,
of
no worries. No worries.
What was the worst one ever? Worst performance you ever did that you're like, this
Funny,
cringe,
that's on
whether
my
it's
list. That's
oh, sorry.
that's fine.
like
We got the same questions.
like nobody showed up, or like
happens.
just a bad audience, or
Nobody
just like,
showing up doesn't hurt my feelings because I have a service industry background, and
Yeah.
as long as I can vibe with the bartenders and the service crew, and like, because if there's nobody there for me, there's nobody there buying drinks and tipping them
Right,
too.
exactly.
Least I could do is sing for them.
Right.
So I'm already
Love
copacetic
that.
with it.
I love
I'm
that.
cool
I love
with
that. I love that. I love that attitude. Yep.
So I don't mind an empty room, and in fact, that relieves the pressure a little bit. It's harder on the bar owner; he's losing money.
Right.
But for me and like I said, the other guys,
practice now.
we're just going to get through it. And I'm going, what do you guys want to hear? To the bartenders, and that's actually fine with me. Actually, okay, since we're in T County,
Yep.
I was playing solo acoustic one night at the Broadway Brew House.
Yeah.
And I was about halfway through the show. No one was paying it. There were people there. They didn't care. They weren't into it. They were sitting at the bar. They were watching the TV. Like nobody was in my general space. It's been years since I've been to the brew house, but there's the bar side. And then there was kind of the big, more open room side.
Yeah.
I would be over there, and there used to be a drum riser. So I was like sitting on a riser above a non-existent crowd.
I think actually for most of our audience is probably from T County. They could probably picture it. They know exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm up on that riser singing, just doing my thing, and it's a Thursday night or Friday night, whatever. And this kid comes over to me, and at the time, I'd have been in my late 20s for sure. And this kid's probably freshly 21, 22. And he kind of goes, "Hey, man, you're like real good and stuff, but we kind of just want to hear the jukebox. Is that cool?" And I was already having such a bad time. I went, "Oh no, that's a great idea." Like, no, that's you're fine, man. And I shut down and turned everything off, and I went up and told the head bartender, who I think was one of the owners or the owner's daughter, and I said, "These guys don't like it. I'm just gonna take off." So that happens.
Yeah.
Or like, "Hey, I played half my show. You want to give me like half the check?"
Yeah.
I've done stuff like that.
That's got to be a kick.
There's
in the dick.
been times, like I said, if the band shows up and the crowd just isn't, something happened where we got booked in a place we shouldn't have, and they're yelling out Metallica, Leonard Skinner, the things that are great songs, but they're not what we do, and we're going, "Sorry, I don't know it."
Yeah.
Yes, you do, which I love.
Yeah,
Anybody who's in a band knows that somebody asks for a request and you're like, "I'm sorry, I don't know that." They go, "Yeah, you do."
Like, I got the lyrics on my phone.
Oh yeah, I know how to play it. Let me come up and play your guitar. So those I don't. That's kind of a nightmare thing. But like, or if you're on stage and something goes wrong, like something goes wrong with the guitar, strings break, battery goes dead,
Right.
drummer breaks a snare drum or something.
Technical problems.
Those are kind of
It's
nightmare.
terrible.
Because we're not of a level where we have roadies or backups
right
for anything.
Yeah.
I have one guitar. I bring the one guitar. If it fucks up on stage, I have to fix it. Like right now, we have to take a break.
Give me a
And
minute.
Yeah,
I gotta
I've
fix
changed
it.
strings on stage in front of the crowd, and I try to
Yeah.
tell a joke while I'm doing it. I've replaced batteries.
Yeah.
We've had to swap out parts and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'm starting to.
I got fired once on a St. Patrick's Day. I was playing a room full of people. It wasn't even an Irish bar. It was in Maslin. Fuck it, I'll say it. It was called Bender's. They'll never hire me again anyway.
Well, they probably don't watch this either. So it doesn't matter.
If you do, I remember.
Yeah, fuck you, assholes.
I was playing, and again, full room of people. They just didn't care for it, which is fine. I mean, it's an understanding. It's like, okay, you don't like me. I'm not having fun. We should probably kill this. I don't mind saying that too.
Yeah.
I don't mind turning everything off and going. The hardest part is if they're not going to pay you, because I was living on the money. So go home empty-handed after you took all your shit there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bar crew wasn't on my side either, and that's maybe where it hurts.
Right.
And they kept going, "Hey, can you pep it up? It's like people want to party." And I'm going, "It's just a guitar. Like there's no beat, there's no drums, there's no bass line. Like I'm strumming like like just like it. That's all I can do.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
so that's all you get with one guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you want me to play it faster? I'll do everything like acoustic punk rock, and I'll scream it.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a better time. Like I'm already,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm playing
Right.
popular songs, and I'm trying to do ones that have a snap to them, but there's no. I'm like, you cheap shits didn't hire a band.
Right.
If you'd have given
Yeah.
me 3 times the asking price, I could have put a trio
Yeah.
or something. Like I said what my price was. You said, that's all we'll do. I'm all you got. And
Yep.
I ended up kind of, I don't get furious at nothing, but I kind of went, this isn't working. I'm going home. They're like, blah, blah, blah. We'll never hire you again. I'm like, I wouldn't have accepted your call anyway. This is terrible. Or oh my God. Do you remember the 356 Fighter Group? Did you ever go out there? It was up by the airport.
Yes.
So over by the industrial park.
I ate lunch there once way back when I was in oil field and shit.
I
but
think it's a
like
country bar now.
Yeah,
I think
it was like a restaurant right there by the airport, and like
Yeah.
you could see.
It used
the
to have
runways
like
and shit.
and it used to. They call it 356 Fighter Group, and it used to have a couple model fighter planes, retired ones.
Yeah.
sitting out front.
Okay,
And now it's,
yeah.
I think, it's not boot scoop, but it's some kind of
Something like that.
Texas
turned
belt
it-
buckle. It's
Yeah.
something, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
When it was 356,
I love the Texas belt buckle reference.
snuck it in there.
Google it.
Don't. And then go to my website, www.bluewaffle.com. Anyway,
Jesus
don't. There we go. Our episode got pulled. Damn it. No, sorry. Don't
Google
do
all that.
don't
Everything we
do
just said.
any of those things.
If you're 18 and older.
There you go. There's the
Yes.
we played the 356 Fighter Group. They were having plumbing problems, and I mean sewage plumbing.
No,
Like
backing
it was
up.
coming up through the floors, like in the
Yeah.
kitchen and in the bathroom. And
Yeah.
they didn't send the band home. We got a 5-piece band getting ready to play, and they knew this was going on. They were trying to call a company to come like pump it or fix it or whatever, and we're like, we still playing? They're like, yeah. We're gonna open the doors. So they open the doors, but they have to tell everyone, you can still come in the club, but we have no working bathroom. So people aren't coming in. People ever hear that, and they're all leaving. We can see people dressed well at the door that are just turning around and leaving, going, oh, let's go down the street to something else. Band plays for 4 hours to almost no one because the place
Yeah.
smells like shit and that you can't even pee anywhere.
Yeah.
All right.
At the end of the night, the owner comes out and goes, well, we didn't do very well tonight, so we're going to have to renegotiate the asking price for the band.
Fuck off.
I know. So that was a big one.
You said, that was a shitty night. Somebody had to say
Seems
it.
like
Sorry.
a shitty situation.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Were they able to weasel their way out of that, or you're like, no?
We
it's-
don't have binding contracts usually.
Oh.
We just, I mean, it's old school. It's usually like an
Handshake
email, a
or-
handshake,
yeah.
a
word
phone
of mouth
call.
handshake.
Yeah.
That
Well,
fucking
because
sucks.
normally things go really well. So, like, if you owned a bar and I played for you and I liked what you paid me and you liked what I sang, we'll do this all the time. I'll play
Right.
for you 6 times in a year, and we'll do that for 20 years or whatever. And you do that with enough people, and then you got a career out of it.
Yeah.
You're playing every night of the
Right.
week, and you're not
Sure.
oversaturating any one place. You're bouncing around like I did.
Get enough people that like you. You get the old tip
Yeah.
jar out there, and you're gonna
So
make money on
normally,
that too.
yeah, normally there's no need for a contract because you're already working with people you're very cool with. Like
Right.
things are going great, and
Right.
you're not being ruckus for them, and they're not being dicks to you, and everything's great. But
popping in that new spot's got to give you a lot of anxiety too. Like, oh fuck. Like,
Oh, yeah.
What am I
No.
gonna get here?
Yeah,
What am I gonna get here?
I hate new places because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I bet you got some surprises too, where it's like, oh, this is not gonna be that great, but they're paying well, and then all of a sudden you go in there and it's like, whoa, okay,
That's definitely
People are cool.
Rocking the socks off,
No, that's
baby.
definitely happened.
Mm.
Or you show up and there's already someone else set up to play, and they double booked you.
Oh yeah.
And again,
yeah,
like-
yeah,
Brunos used to do that to us a lot.
Oh fuck.
yeah,
Sorry, they don't hire me anymore, but it used to happen a lot.
sure.
We need to
And,
get you back down to T County though.
I would do it. You know, I'm trying to think who I really do like around here.
I think you mentioned before Bud and
Bud and
Toots.
Tooties.
Yep.
I know a few
Is
places.
it
with
Matt
the-
Smith? I think is the guy who owns it, or at least he did.
Not familiar with, but I know the
Yeah.
of the joint.
No, they're good people. I know it's not open anymore, but Back Alley was really cool, which was I think Danny's before that.
I think it's called something different right
I'm
now.
sure it is. I've been out of the game down here for a while.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great places.
I know
They're
a
opening
few
new-
places.
They're opening a new spot right down the road called Pilot Brewery. That's going to be an offshoot of Lockport from Bolivar.
Oh, I love Lockport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
The
less than a mile.
Marburgers?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Less than a mile down the road. Right
Awesome.
there. It used to be called 5 Barrel Bullet Brewing.
I used to play for him,
Yeah.
and I liked him. I mean, I liked it. Yeah.
Marburgers are taking over that spot.
I like it. Well,
Lockport.
they've already got that back patio with the little covered stage.
Yeah.
thing.
Beautiful.
So I want you to come play there so I can
I
just like
would.
walk there.
I already know how to get there.
and then you know where you can crash.
Yeah. After party's here.
That's a deal.
Now we've been slowly honing in on actually where Steve lives with every podcast. And you just made it within a 2-mile range, buddy.
Oh, if anybody hates me enough, they can dox the fuck out of me. I'm
It's-
I'm
It's
on
actually so
Facebook
easy to
and all that
Google
shit,
anybody
yeah.
and find their address. Like
Yeah.
it is stupid. It is.
They've already
stupid.
hacked your phone.
Yeah.
If you know what state they live in, you can type in a name and you know their age or something. Like
Yeah.
through it's not hard to find where somebody lives. It's really
Right.
not, and it's scary. Anyways,
But let's get back to some hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, hit me. I love it. Hopefully this
Um,
isn't boring for everybody. This is not the usual show. I feel like I've derailed the normal conversation.
No, this is actually fun. It's
good.
it's
good.
intriguing. It's something I think everybody probably has wondered about, Cause
That's
like,
actually kind of why I wrote the book.
right.
And there's honestly
'Cause you
probably
don't
some
know.
people tuning in. They're like, "This is." They're not just rambling on about bullshit.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew about the
But,
book, but I haven't bought a copy yet. But
No. Well, one
Yeah.
of them's for you. Happy birthday.
oh, well, thank
yeah,
you.
that's why there's two there.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I feel like I should buy another one.
I do want to talk about the book here in a little bit, but right now, the next question I got for you. We're talking sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
Yep.
We know you rock and roll.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about drugs. Let's talk about maybe more of the sex angle. Do you find me attractive? No.
Well,
I'm actually kind of
happy
curious
birthday.
because you got in music, obviously before you met your wife
Yeah.
or any other girlfriends or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like, did you and your wife meet? Like,
Because of the band, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was always kind of curious about that.
No.
Like,
If you were to hear it from her, she'd tell it slightly different. But
they all do.
yeah. Apparently, one of her friends had brought her to see our band play. I don't remember that. She says I was a real dick to her.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what made her attractive.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
she
yeah.
kept getting whatever.
It worked, man.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that way. What I remember is, so if there was a first instance, it's lost on me, unfortunately. What happened ultimately was the guitar player for the band kept trying to throw house parties. He lived with his cousin. They owned their own house.
Yeah.
And we were all, my God, Mike's a year older than me, 20. I mean, we weren't even really drinking age yet, but he had a house with his cousin and wanted to throw like rager parties. And
Yeah.
he lived, the house was kind of secluded enough out in Perry that like you really could get away with it.
Kind of like next to the woods or whatever. And
Kind of,
shit.
sort of. It's in a residential area. It's kind of over by where I live now. It just doesn't have nearby neighbors. The next lot, there's like a lot space.
Yeah.
It's enough to where you could get away with parties and stuff.
We
Right.
did a lot of drinking in the woods back in the day. So.
Yeah. It's the stuff that I miss that because
Yeah.
I grew up
Yeah.
next to a woods and a cornfield and things that, oh my God,
Yeah.
thank God cell phones and pictures and the cameras didn't exist at the
No,
time.
100%.
Yeah. All those Polaroids are gone.
Right.
But he kept trying to throw ragers, and he kept trying to get me to come to his parties. And I kept saying, Mike, you never have girls at the parties. Like
Yeah.
you're trying to have parties,
Yeah.
but it's
A
always
lot of bars.
it's always a sausage fest, right? Like
Yeah.
because we worked together too. We had gone to high school together, and then after high school, we worked at the Camelot Music Warehouse, which is a distribution center. And so I saw him every day, and he usually gave me a ride to work. So it's not like I wasn't hanging out with him. He was one of my best friends. But
Yeah.
it was like, he kept going, oh, come over next Saturday. I'm going to throw a rager. I'm like, you don't throw ragers. There's no girls.
It's gonna be a
And so
sausage fest.
And so I told him, I said, I'll come to your house if you promise there's going to be some kind of girls there.
Yeah.
Just whatever. Just, so I'm not just talking to guys all night because that's gets you,
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. So there was a girl that really liked him. He wasn't super into her, but he basically was like, you can come to my party if you bring a bunch of girls and your girlfriends, which
Yeah.
was a shitty move.
Yeah.
But she did it.
Bring
And
6 of
Anne
your
was one
friends.
of the friends.
Yeah.
But Anne was kind of only friendly with her because she wanted to meet me again,
Yeah.
supposedly. So she comes to this party, and they're like the two girls there. And the other
just
girl's
two.
very, very nice. There's nothing wrong with her. She wasn't ugly or nothing. It's just she liked the guitar player liked Anne.
Yeah.
So it was bro code. So
Ooh.
literally, and this is so antiquated that I'm gonna get like canceled for this, but like my buddy called dibs. He's like, dibs on that one. And I went, okay, cool. But not like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But back
Yeah.
then that just meant you weren't going to also try to talk to the same person.
You're not actively trying.
It wasn't like an ownership thing. It wasn't like, oh, she's mine. It was
Right.
like, step back and let me try
Oh yeah, no, I get that.
and see if it works or whatever. So I was like, yeah, cool. So I didn't talk to her most of the night. I mean, I did casually, but
Yeah. Hey, hi, nice to meet you.
yeah,
What's going
yeah.
on?
Mike was
But
totally
you didn't
striking
throw
out.
you didn't throw the charm.
No, I no, not full swagger, not full.
How you do it?
yeah.
You didn't Joey or anything.
No.
Like,
Actually,
Probably-
she probably wouldn't have. I might not be married now.
Yeah, it would
actually.
probably worked better because you're like, nah.
Maybe it was that whole
if
thing.
you would have tried,
Yeah, maybe it was
Yeah.
that whole
it
thing.
might have fucked up.
Yeah, but no. We were drinking. Like, I don't know if you avoid. Well, no, we're drinking now.
Yeah.
We're drinking Jägermeister.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because like we were in a metal band and we wanted to be like Metallica and Pantera. So we were
Yeah.
drinking Jägermeister. Well, that catches up with you.
Yes.
And so we all were drinking the amount you're supposed to in the intervals that make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she was kind of wanted to be like on our level. So she's
Yeah.
throwing down doubles
Yeah.
for every single we're doing. And I'm going, you're either the toughest chick I've ever met or you don't know what this is.
Yeah.
She's
Or I'm
going
gonna
to
have to
kill
hold
me
your
for
hair
this,
later.
actually.
No,
And,
it's, we can edit it out if you don't want. But
but no, anyway,
I don't think she watches this podcast either.
she'll be very
She might watch
interested in
this
what I'm
one.
saying. Yeah.
She might watch this one.
She might have a vested interest
But
in
no,
this one.
she
Yeah, my wife did the same, so it's fine.
she did better than any of us, and that's when I was like, "Ah, you're pretty cool." I was like, "Mike, I'm revoking your dibs, dude. I'm talking to this girl." And
Yeah.
I mean, we were 19. I mean, that was it.
That
Damn.
long, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we've been married. We got married in 2003, so
Okay.
that's 22 years. Going
Yeah.
on 23.
That's
You're
been a minute.
graduated high school, so
Yeah. So really, there was no. I wish I could give you stories of like years of debauchery, but there wasn't any. I mean, I was
Well-
kind of right out of high school, and then I met Ann, and,
Yeah,
and here
that's
we
good.
are.
Yeah.
So
Well, no, it was kind of just wondering, like, do you think maybe your musician kind of status kind of intrigued? You know, I was
hope
kind
so.
of.
I mean, I think that's what got your wife, right? Well, I mean, she knew you were probably creative. But
I tell you what, I can definitely say if I wasn't in a band, I don't know that I would have met her, because she lived in Massillon and went to Washington High School, and I lived in Plain Local, and I went to Glen Oak. I can't think of another instance where we would have been in the same room.
Well, if
Okay.
we went,
Any of the times, if she came to see my band the first time, which I don't remember, at Sadie Renee's in North Canton, or certainly at the Guitar Players Party,
Yeah.
and I don't think we would have crossed paths.
if we weren't in restaurants, we'd have never met our wives.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's just
true.
literally
so,
it. That's
so
literally
in
it.
one
Very
way,
true.
in one way, it's undeniable that I met her because
Yeah.
I was in a band.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, this is. I love this because there's just three of us chatting
Right.
and
Yeah.
a camera. If a million people watch, I don't know. So this doesn't feel nerve wracking at all.
Right.
Right.
But if there were a million people in a room, I wouldn't go out and just start talking to people.
Right. Right.
Now,
100%.
like a show is different.
Yeah.
I've got the safety of being on a stage with my buddies. Like if we were the band, it's us against the world,
Yeah.
and we've got each other. And so fuck them if they don't like it. We start
Yeah.
playing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel good with the band. But I don't usually go to big crowded places and feel great about it.
Right.
So
Same.
I
I
certainly
don't want no
wouldn't have
part of
met
that.
her, and I don't know that I would have met a lot of other people because
Right.
I wasn't actively going to big. Hey, how's it going? My name is Scott. It's very nice to meet you. I'm in marketing. Like, if I did anything other than music, I don't know
Right.
if I would have met half the people that I did,
Right.
because getting to be in a band and getting to be on stage made me. It puts a light on you.
Yeah.
And it makes you kind of cool enough that people do kind of come up and talk to you.
yeah.
And that is how I've met
You kinda
most of
become
my
the-
friends.
Yeah.
and
You
most of
become
my
the center of attention.
yeah,
you
all
know?
my best friends are also musicians. I met them because we played in bands,
Yeah.
or we saw each other's bands.
Right.
And then all my other good friends are people that saw me by accident, kept coming to see me, and then I just recognized, oh, you keep coming. You must like the show. It's nice to meet you. And they become friends, like really great lifelong friends.
Sure.
And it started as an accident because they saw me at a club and went, hey, this guy's all right. Let's keep watching him.
Yeah. You follow him around.
So
Yeah.
if I'd have went down a different career path, I think I'd have a smaller friends group for sure, but it would be a very, very different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
different. Because I'm not outgoing enough to have met that many people.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I've
Yeah.
got friends in other states that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like you travel for work. There's people that maybe you meet where you're going, and if you see them enough times, not everybody, but some people will be like, hey, it's you.
Right. Right.
You know, hey, we're in town 3 days. Maybe we can get a beer. Or like, I don't know if
Yeah.
that happens, but it could happen.
It could, yeah.
I'm not
I'm getting there more where I sit. I my mom told me not to talk to strangers, and I've taken that to heart most of my life.
It's a safe. God bless her. It's a safe. It's a safe.
So I have a
It's a
lot of
safe-
anxiety around strangers, but the more I go visit these places and the more I see the same customers all the time, it's like, all right, yeah, I get more friendly with them, and it's like, let's go. Let me buy you dinner, and I'm like, actually, we'll put it on. I'll put it on a place that I work. I'll buy you dinner or something, and then it gets cool and shit. But yeah, no, I'm more of one of those people, like, I don't like to talk to strangers.
No,
like,
I
a
do the
lot.
same thing. Yeah, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
But you have charisma. You can do the thing. Like,
Right.
hey,
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
look at me. And it's so weird because I think anybody who's even dabbling in forms of entertainment, or certainly I think the service industry is like this too, to be a server and walk
Yeah.
up to a table and go and put on that character that you have to put on.
It's your service industry face.
Yeah.
You know?
But to be able to do that is a performance art to me as well.
Yeah.
And I call it whatever you want. The fact that doing this feels like, oh, I'd like to try that. So whatever that spark is,
Right.
that where you're like, whatever draws you to some version of that, where you'd like to make something and have people see it, and maybe even be a character unto yourself and be a little goofy or a little fun.
Yeah.
I notice more times than not, these types, that type of person also isn't that every day.
No.
Yeah.
They don't walk around in the mall and go shake hands and go, hey, that's a great sweater you got on there. And it's like you walk around kind of hands in your pocket and you kind of just keep to yourself. And it's so funny that at a moment's notice, if the time was right, hey, like you could
Yeah.
turn it on,
Right.
Yeah.
but you reserve it for what feels good about it and in the right context.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'm
I'm
a
a
great-
total introvert.
Yeah, I'm a great person for that because I'm in sales, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta go
Yeah.
walk in a door I've never walked in before,
Right.
and go talk to somebody never before and
Right.
try to sell them some product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Hey, guess what? I'm your new best fucking friend right now.
it's
Guess what?
the
Yeah.
scariest shit to me sometimes for no reason, and I'm
Yeah.
like, because most of the time I go in and walk in and talk to them, they're just a nice, normal person that wants to talk to you too.
Right.
They got no problem talking to you, but they also don't want to come up to you and talk to you.
Sure.
But everybody's afraid of that, like, oh, they're gonna be mad at me, or they're gonna hate me, or there's
Fear
gonna
of
be weird.
rejection.
It's like
Yeah.
whatever it is. My wife is the most craziest saleswoman I've ever seen in my life. She has a whole different side of her. She just kicks on. It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like she's everybody's best friend.
Yeah.
But that could be a
Immediately.
She is super approachable
Immediately.
Yeah.
in any circumstance.
Yeah.
Like if she walked through that door right now, she'd be like, "Oh, hey, Scott," and you guys are best friends now.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
like
That's awesome.
yeah.
she just does
Just-
that.
You just love her. Everything about her is just like it's just glowing. It's just like oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't. All right. Yes, I
Well,
like
now
stuff.
you're probably not allowed to answer for sake of your own well-being, but
No, I can.
is there another side of that where she just doesn't want to see people to like recharge that social battery, or like is it always like that?
Well,
That's
no, I'm-
actually a good question because I find myself where
yeah.
if I
she's
try too
exhausted.
hard and try to be that person, it's like, God, I just
You got a
need-
time limit. There's a time limit, and
Yeah.
then you need some alone time.
I need to get in my car and
Yeah.
drive for a half
No,
hour with
100%.
no music, no
Yeah.
nothing, just silence and just reset. Like
Yeah, it's a
so,
recharge.
She
for
reads
sure.
books like a motherfucker.
Nice.
Like so, she's just like I just want to go in the bedroom and read my
Wow.
book.
she's
and
got
then-
a new book to read.
Yeah, exactly.
She might like it.
She will go lay down and read her book.
Good.
And I'll go kill 13-year-olds on a video game.
In a video game.
In
In a video game. Sorry, I shouldn't use the word kill, but whatever.
At a game.
I will go beat up 13-year-olds at a video game because
Yeah.
that is my stress relief.
Yeah. But
After
again,
I talk to people all day.
right.
Then I can just go release stress and play a video game and get my mind off everything because then
Yeah.
your mind's only in the video game and then my mind can kind of just
Yeah.
chill out.
Yeah. But when
Um,
you're gearing up to do the thing you do professionally, where you have to kind of turn it on,
right,
do you kind of have to like psych yourself and kind of like
a little bit, yeah. I gotta get into a mode where
then
I'm
to
like,
me that's performance as well.
yeah, I gotta.
It's not it's another version of the exact same feeling I feel. I mean, we're people, we've made all this up. We made up
Yeah.
the language, we made up the jobs, but chemically I feel like we're all talking about the same thing.
Right.
That
You're
impulse,
accessing that same part of the brain.
you've
where it's
created a version of yourself that is a character, same name, same likeness.
Yeah.
You haven't gone so far. It's not Ziggy Stardust, but some things
like, right.
there, maybe that's the difference, but you're walking in and you have to
Mhm.
you know the things you should say,
Yeah.
the things you can retort if it's not going well. And to you, that's your greatest hits list. That's like when I go to a room and it's not going well, I've got songs. I'm like, everyone loves this one. Everyone loves that one.
God, it's
and I will knock it out. And they're the same things.
It
like
is.
when you're
It
selling
is.
and you're losing, you go through that Rolodex of where's my hits? Where's my hits?
Where's
I
that?
gotta win
Yeah.
the crowd back. It's very much the same chemicals to me.
I never fucking thought about it like that.
If your table isn't happy and you're serving or you're
even like
bartending,
my line of work now, like, well, your cylinders are probably going out. But if anything, like, and I kind of turn
you
it
win
on.
them back.
Like,
Yeah, we gotta win them back.
and then I try to sell them new cylinders. Like, if you don't need them, we can sell them to you. But if you don't need them, you don't need them.
Yeah.
We'll replace them next year. But if you need them, you're better off having them now.
Right.
So you can replace them if you need, like, just bullshit like
but
that.
you find
Like,
yourself
I
talking in a way that you normally
turn
don't
into a
talk.
completely different fucking person.
You do.
And I never really
It's all
actually kind of
performance.
recognize that.
It's performance.
That part
And
of
it's
myself.
not like that's a bad word. It's just it's a human thing. I think there's something to
and
it.
we all literally have our own voice to it. Like yours is obviously
Yeah.
singing, but like
It's
ours is
different
like it
versions.
changes.
Yeah.
Your voice will change. If you could record it and listen to your voice when you're making a set, trying to make a sale or talk to somebody like that,
Yeah.
or if it's just you normally talking,
It's like acting.
oh, it's a little higher, it's a little more octave, it's a little more like it's a
Break
little
it.
more persuasive, it's a little
Yeah.
more everything else.
And you can break it down to the most basic thing that anyone can relate to is meeting the parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and that could go male
got a
or
good circle
female.
back there.
That could go male or female. Like, you're meeting the parents, like, you're putting on a fucking act.
Yeah.
You know?
So you want to talk about worst case scenarios in a show aspect?
Yeah.
I had just started dating Anne,
Yeah.
and
Oh, no.
her parents are the sweetest people ever. I didn't know them yet; they didn't know me yet, but they're old fashioned and conservative in all the great ways. And I mean, none of that's a diss at all. I love them, but I'm the new boyfriend. I look like a rocker. I've already met enough mothers that hate me and fathers that
You
hate
are
me
a
from,
rocker.
from
And how
previous-
long was your hair at that point in time?
I didn't look much different than this, except I had piercings and I had a dyed red.
I know
tip.
at one point you had like super long hair.
Yeah, it might have been a bit longer, and I even did
Wait,
dreadlocks for a minute.
Red what?
I had a red streak. I painted this
Oh, the
with
goatee?
like bleach. I bleach it,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I would paint it red, like
Yeah,
Dimebag
no,
Darrell
I don't
from-
trust you then. I don't trust you at all.
Right. So, the first time I had met them briefly, and Ann said, "Yeah, my parents are kind of old fashioned, kind of conservative, And I go, I know how to do this, because already
Yeah.
acting, performing. I'm like,
Right.
so nice to meet you. Oh, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Oh, it's so good. And yeah, I look a little weird, but I can talk the talk. Great.
Right.
And we got in, we got out. Okay, we were going out to do whatever we do. I'm playing a show with my heavy metal band Mainline, and we're very heavy, and we're at a place called Sadie Renee's, and Anne's there. She used to help us do the
Sadie's,
merch booth, so she would sit there and sell our T-shirts for us while we were on stage and stuff.
Yeah.
And she went to go to get in her truck and realized she had locked her keys in her truck. And the only people that had the spare were her folks. So she had to call her mom and dad to come bring her spare key. So here's this sweet little old couple, and Anne's the youngest of her family, so her parents are older.
Okay.
Like even her
Yeah.
siblings are 20 years older than her. She really was.
Oh, so real,
I mean,
real,
she
like,
was- yeah.
real baby.
Yeah. So even back then, her parents were still old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. But they came out to bring her spare key, and her mom's like, "Oh, is that your boyfriend in there on stage singing? I like music. I'd like to see him sing."
Yeah.
At the time,
And that Sadie
I'm in-
Renee's of all places.
I've got dreadlocks. I'm in full corpse
Oh, you
paint.
got dreads?
I'm in drag, and I'm wearing a dress with fishnet stockings. Here comes this sweet little conservative couple, walks in the door with her spare key, and I shit my pants. I shit my skirt. Because I'm performing, so I'm
Yeah.
rah, whatever the words are, I'm screaming, and it's so
Yeah.
heavy, and I glance up and see this sweet little couple, and Anne's going, "I'm sorry," and I'm going, I have to commit. I'm at a show.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a
You
crowd.
can't stop.
I have to keep going. So I'm still doing the thing, and I'm like, well, she was a good one. It was nice knowing her. Like, they're never gonna let me keep
Yeah.
seeing this girl. We laughed about that. Her dad's not with us anymore, but even her mom still laughs about.
Yeah,
because obviously now it's 20-some years later. There's
yeah.
grandkids.
Yeah.
Even at the time, they didn't really razz me about it. They just kind of went, "Well, he's different."
Yeah.
And it's weird, like because they saw you then at your youngest, but they've seen you grow up as a man, and they're like, "This is a good fucking man," so it's fine. But that was pretty funny.
Oh no, we laugh about it now. I'm sure the conversations for a couple of weeks after were intense. I almost wish I could have heard if there was any like, "Are you sure he's the guy?"
Behind their closed doors. But then you also got to remember they had a past too, and some they always probably everybody has a little bit of a wild shake on the side
or something, you know.
And you never know.
Than that.
Oh, shit.
You never know what they went through and the times they went through, and then everybody says, "Well, it's just the times now." You know? It's
no,
like,
but they were very.
Is she happy? Then we're happy.
That was kind of the thing. They kind of went, "Well, if he does right by you, he's okay with me," which I appreciated because we did. Everything was fine, and no, they're just awesome people. But I lucked out because any other
and probably a couple of minutes of conversation with you, they're like.
And by the time Ann and I had kids, we went, "What the hell are our kids going to rebel against?" Because we're pretty open to stuff. Like if if one of my daughters was dating a guy in a band, I'd be like, "Oh, tell me about your guitar, bro." Like I wouldn't be like, "You got to watch them artists. They're nothing but trouble." I would be like, "Yeah, so like, where's his demo? Is it any good or is it crap?" Like, I don't.
He's
think
probably running away. Like, I don't
you got mixing this. This fucking sucks. I know a guy that has a studio that makes it way better.
What's his name? He's got flippy hair. He wants to be a pro skater. That's rad. You ever play Tony Hawk? Come on in, dude.
It's awesome.
So then, being a musician, meeting your wife, did you ever use her as a muse or have her write a rock song or a ballad, love ballad, or any kind of song for her?
Not directly, but I'm sure it's in everything. I mean,
like the feelings still hit somewhere.
Well, how do I explain it?
You guys have been together for so long. It's just a part of you.
Yeah, that's the thing is my tunes aren't necessarily autobiographical. So it's not, I mean, there's stories in there, but they're not like, "I met you on a Friday night." I never wrote first person in a song like that.
Right.
So nothing is definitely like, "This song's about Ann." I never wrote those kind of songs.
Your parents saw me in a purse with dreads.
In hindsight, now that'd be a bitchin' song. That'd be a bitchin' song.
I say purse or dress. Or, I don't know, whatever.
In a purse with dreads. Yeah.
In a purse with dreads, yeah.
I said purse. I was about to say dress, but that's fine.
The purse was in the truck with her keys.
Yeah.
I just put it all together. It works. It works.
But no, I mean, but everything I know about relationships, or even if I wrote a love story in a song, it would be filtered through what I know.
Yeah.
So in a way, she's in all the tunes. And then, but to say directly one was like, "Oh, that's the song I wrote for you."
I got you.
Maybe not to pinpoint like with names and dates and places like how Ben Folds would do it or a pop singer or something.
Yeah.
Like a Taylor Swift writing about specifically the guy she was with or something.
Exactly.
I never really went that path. But again, it was a lot of hard rock, a lot of metal. There weren't a lot of like maybe ballads all the time for that kind of stuff.
Right.
Gotcha.
But I mean, yeah, my God, like I said, I'm 43. We got together at 19, so more than half my life. So
Right.
And from 19 till now, pretty much all I know.
That's going to negate this next question.
Oh. Which one of your songs does she hate? Well, she hates the one about her, but that's all of them. She's really thrown the catalog away. She's thrown the catalog out.
Well, no, I was just wondering if there's ever a song that maybe you might have written with an ex-girlfriend being the inspiration and that maybe she doesn't know about or something. But
when you were 17.
You're trying to get me killed.
Yeah, what the hell, Steve?
She doesn't watch this.
When you were 17 years old, you remember that ex?
Yeah. All right, Barbara Walters, you're trying to get me to cry.
I'm gonna bring you some hard hitting ones.
No, those are hard hitting.
But just curious because I don't know. Like I feel like you started at an early age.
Yeah.
Being an artist, and like I said, like kind of the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing.
Yeah.
You kind of, I mean, I don't know. I'm not one, but I feel like if I would have learned to play guitar and become an artist, I would have
wrote the songs for the girls.
Would have written a song about a girl at one point in time.
I never really did.
Well, that's
well,
good for you.
So
not get you in trouble. Then
yeah, I say the other side of that coin is even as a guitar player in school or a singer, in bands and stuff, I didn't even really date that many girls. I was too nervous to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And because again, I don't just walk through a room and go, "Hi, my name is Scott." I don't have that unless I'm performing properly. And I didn't even know there was a difference then. I've developed that later as far as knowing how to turn that on or off, but there weren't that many girls to even try to write a song about.
I never knew how to talk to girls either.
No, I was a dork. I was a dork trying to be the cool rocker guy. It was not instinctual. It wasn't like, "Oh yeah, parties at my place. We're doing all this cool stuff." Like, if I'd even tried to do that, it was dorky me trying to be the guy that gets to say that.
You didn't pick up the art to use it to pick up girls.
By the time Blink-182 came out, I went, "Oh, that's something you could do." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're like running around naked in the video, and all the girls are going, "Oh my god!" I went, "Oh."
I remember.
I was writing songs about like God knows what. Pirates and like God, I don't even know what the songs are about, but
I just always remember there were a couple guys in high school that could play guitar and
wrote the mushy songs.
They did it to pick up the chicks, and I just didn't know if that was
there's guys
hand in hand
do.
or
No, I know lots of people that was maybe an early inspiration. The band I played with in grade school, it was two stepbrothers. One played the drums, one played the keyboard. Their dad was in a kind of a Beatles oldies tribute group. They didn't do the dress up stuff, but they did play older music.
Yeah.
And their guitar player, I only remember him by his nickname, which was Satch. He was that guy.
Yeah.
He introduced himself to a 10-year-old kid as, "Hey, my name's Satch."
My name's Satch.
And he showed me a couple little riffs on the guitar because we were kind of just starting to learn how to play together as a band. And he was like, "This thing gets you all the girls." And he was that guy.
Okay.
And I even kind of remember, as clear as I remember that, and only being probably 10 or 11, I also remember kind of being repulsed a little bit. I just want to do it because I love Nirvana and I love music and I love, it was 90s. I was angsty and I want to sing about what I don't like about my parents and my school and my,
right.
It wasn't
I guess maybe because that
girl, I love your smile. I never really did that.
You picked it up before the urge, so to speak. You know what I mean?
The hormones are always there, but maybe I didn't know it would pay off. I don't know. I don't know what the difference was. But no, I've never really wrote a big mushy love song. Not properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I've been married so long, if I wrote one and showed it to her, she'd just laugh and be like, "You're stupid." Which is what I love. I mean, that's why we have a good relationship. But I feel like if I did that now, it's almost like, "You missed your shot. You missed your shot." To write that song,
Me and my wife have been married since 2008, so it's like anytime I try to do something just kind of corny and dumb, she's like, "Shut the fuck up."
That's kind of where we're at.
But she,
it's appreciated.
Yes.
If I showed up with flowers or something or did something, I know it's appreciated, but it's also like you're stupid.
What do you mean so corny?
Yeah,
but calls me out on my bullshit.
Yeah,
why are you wasting money?
Yeah,
hey, we didn't have kids home tonight. I was seeing what would happen. I don't know.
All right, and then so before we get too long in the tooth on this one, we still got to talk about this book.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've done so much with bands and all this stuff, and does writing music then is that kind of what helped you write the book then as well? Just because you're a writer and you have ideas that you feel need to be on paper or put out? I
didn't think it would be, but kinda.
Yeah.
Because I loved. I haven't done this part of it yet, or in a while, but I loved writing lyrics, just as much as writing a tune. So all the tunes you guys have that I've been lucky enough they've been the intros for the songs.
Yeah.
I love the melodies and I love the beats and I love the patterns. But then once I had a music bed, kind of like the instrumental, I would love getting to kind of just freak out and go, what's this about?
Yeah.
What's this world going to be? And trying to figure out how the rhythm of the words is going to be like da bum ba and a da kind of like you're like a damn good time. You figure out where things sit. Well, what are those words going to be? And then how the hell does that make sense with the next thing I'm going to say? And then do you get to a chorus that's catchy enough that people would sing along?
Right.
And what's simple enough that people will learn it and sing it, and what's got some oomph to it that it actually tells a decent story. And the challenge in that's like a Rubik's Cube. It's like, it's pretty hard to fit all those pieces together to make something that's catchy, intelligent, memorable. I mean, that's like the golden thing everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I did it in any of them, but it's a fun thing to chase in a 3-minute time. Like when Twitter started, I think the thing that made it cool was you only had 250 characters.
Right.
You couldn't ramble. You couldn't wax poetic about
Quick
it.
idea.
250 characters. You start typing and it would stop and you'd go, oh shit, I'm out of time. And you'd have to refine and refine and refine and self-edit until you hit the 250 and say the thing you were trying to say. And I thought, that's like writing a pop song. You got 3.5 minutes ish before you lose people's attention. Now it's even less.
It's don't bore us, get to the chorus type.
Exactly.
Type deal.
So I always loved that format just for like, okay, that's the rules. I got to keep it short and sweet, but I'd also like it to be interesting. And then you fight, and then I wrote over the course of almost 20 years, probably 200, 300 songs. Some of them were good. Some of them did the thing, got to the chorus. Some of them not so good. I like them all for what they are, but people speak,
Right.
Sure.
This was different because this was, you could say anything ad nauseum. You could go on and on and on.
Right.
And in fact, if you want to fill pages, you almost have to. There was points where I had to go back and add more because the chapter seemed a little short. And I'm like, I could probably say more. There was more to this story. I don't have to self-edit as much. And I don't have to refrain from talking like myself.
Yeah.
None of my songs really ever had swearing, never really had certain ideas that I thought, kind of like the show, it's kind of like, I don't know if I can say X, Y, or Z because I don't know how everybody feels about this.
Right.
Well, if I have a whole chapter to tell you why I think a way, I can at least explain why I said the thing I said.
Yeah.
And you don't have to agree with it, but at least I don't just say a word and then dip out. Or I say a thing and then dip out. I can go, I don't like country music. You just say that.
Let me tell you why.
Right. Well, because I had this experience and then this and this happened. And here's why I particularly don't. It doesn't mean I think it sucks because of who gets to say that. Like, you can really expand on your idea.
Right. You're fighting.
And these all started as
the third of the country then.
Yeah. You're starting wars over a one sentence. But if you have a book to talk, you get to flesh it out a little bit. These all started as journal entries in a notebook. And really, I didn't think anybody would see it. I thought it would be fodder for podcast talk.
Well, and
like stories about like our podcast with the band was all music related and it was all horror stories from shows and things like we talked about today.
Right.
This would be a great conversation for like what we were doing on the weekly was like specifically like, hey, remember that one show where we showed up and this and this and this happened? And the other guys were there too, so they're reminding me things I forgot.
Yeah.
So I was journaling to kind of remember more so that when we would talk, I'd be like, oh, I thought of this the other day. Do you remember 10 years ago when this happened? Well, those journals just kept filling up and it was like, there might be a book here, Well,
sure,
and if you don't mind, I did highlight I haven't made it all the way through the book. I got it on Kindle, but there was a couple things that just like hit. It just hit, and actually I feel like they would probably communicate to you as well. But it's chapter 4, and you go on, but at one point you're like, I was common. I know that sounds incredibly gaudy, but it's true that once you go first class, it's near impossible to go back. Perhaps that's true of any former job. Is it easy to visit that restaurant you served at and be a patron? Sorry, I suck at reading. Would you want to roam around in the back and see what's changed since you left? Is it only me that feels that way? And I want to say, as soon as I read it, it's like, no, it's not.
No,
like I can't count how many restaurants I've worked at, and I want to go back there and be like, is it as fun as it was when I was there? Like, is that still there? And I know me and him, we've worked in restaurants forever, and like
is that hole still in the wall?
Right?
Yeah.
And if it is, the story, and the new kids don't.
We made that potato cannon and we shot that son of a bitch and rack of skewers through the wall. It's still there. That's a real story.
Yeah. You can't make that up.
We found a CO2 tank and put a piece of PVC pipe on it and loaded it up and just blast shit across the back into the storage room, and we put a bunch of holes in the wall. We put a pretzel stick in the Joe Baberchick's fucking back.
Yeah,
He was all
perfect
welded
pretzel
up.
stick welt. Like, I'm talking about like the
And as soon as it
tattoos.
hit him, as soon as it hit him, it just went to dust. Too. Just like
right on his back.
like perfect.
Evaporated.
He's like, ah!
Yeah. And I think even then, like you're talking about, like even old homes and shit. And I moved around a lot as a kid, and I go by these neighborhoods. Like I fucking live there. I wonder what it's like now.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not, and it's weird.
If you walk in, it's not going to be home.
Yeah, it's
Because-
weird, and it's weird
Yeah.
the way you wrote it and put it. It's like it almost kind of made me tear up. It's like, yeah, like that's
It's the memory. It's
that
the
was grandma's
smell.
house. It
Yeah.
smelled like coffee and like it had
Oh,
the wood
absolutely.
paneling and
Oh
like.
my God.
But now I go in and they're probably gonna like decorate it in some new something stupid,
Yeah,
and
they ripped
and
up all the carpet
bullshit.
and they changed the wallpaper and they
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the human
Yeah.
emotion. It's all the memories tied to
Yeah.
that place where you're like, shit, I spent how many years there? And now I'm just like, you relate to that. It just doesn't matter when you spend that much time of your life in a place
Yeah.
or with a person.
yeah.
It's
So-
just that is your, like when you were talking about with your wife and your songs, it's like, well, no, I haven't wrote one for her, but she's part of all of them. It's like,
Yeah,
that's
she's
just,
kind of
that's just
involved
me.
in me.
That's just me.
Involved in
That's just me.
everything. Yeah,
that
it's
is
just-
mentally where I am all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything that comes out of me, it's a filter now. It's a,
Yeah.
it's a. I don't know a different way to say it. It's even if you were, if I'd have written a book that was fictional with characters going through a story,
Sure.
anything you make up is still how you would have done it because
It's
you're
the way
doing
you
it with your
perceive
twist
shit.
of your perspective. No matter how much you try to run away from it, everything you think of, it's because you thought of it.
Right.
And it all kind of funnels in. But yeah, everyone around
That's
you,
your
in your
life,
life,
yeah.
and your kids, and your wife, or whoever is in your life that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's
I fucking love that passage. I love
Yeah.
that part. That whole kind of that nostalgia.
and there's no
feel about
answer
it.
too. People will, if you read it, there's it's not like the next sentence goes, well, here's the answer to that question.
Right.
There's no answers in the whole book.
Yeah.
I pose a lot of questions that I've always kind of sat with, just maybe to kind of go, do you also feel that way? And when I
Right.
was writing it in a book or typing it finally in the computer, I didn't even know if it made sense to other people. I didn't know if it just seemed like a ranting manifesto. I didn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't getting a lot of feedback, but I wasn't also showing it to a lot of people. I
Yeah.
kind of just finished it all quietly by myself. People knew I was writing it, but I didn't really
Sure.
share what it was. No one read a word of it almost until it was completely done. I shared a couple lines with a few people
Yeah.
that I thought were kind of clever or this or that. And then I just kind of went, okay, it's done. And the very first couple people that read the ebook version, I was just on pins and needles. Like, is it garbage? Or like, but a couple people shared things like that. Like,
Yeah.
Same thought.
yeah. And
a lot of this hits home to me and shit.
but that means a lot because that means it means that I'm not the only one who feels that way, but it also means there's enough of us who
Yeah.
maybe could find a little comfort in that and go, yeah, I have always wondered.
Yeah.
Like old clubs I used to play. That's kind of where that chapter starts. Like, I spent every day in this club called Cheeseburger in Paradise, which was a Jimmy Buffett club
Sure.
up in Belton Village.
Yeah.
And it's kind of where I got my start doing the cover thing when I transitioned from like just my songs to playing, I would do maybe 40 minutes of my own songs. That was a show. That's all I knew how to do.
Sure.
To 4 hours of whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I could do 4 different 4-hour shows and never repeat a song because I kept adding more and more and more. But I was in Cheeseburger every night. I was either serving tables or I was singing.
Sure.
But we didn't have kids yet, so I was just making money every day, having fun.
Yeah.
In a island tropical atmosphere. Why would you not? I mean,
Right.
It was great. But then when the place shut down and turned into a tilted kilt or turned into now it's a breakfast spot or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't even.
I remember this Tilted Coat.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
all that.
I can't even go in there.
Yeah.
And it's not against the new owners or the new style.
I'm sure you
or-
never want to hear a Jimmy Buffett song again, but I loved Buffett.
It's the opposite.
Really?
When I started there, I thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't like the music. I started there because I knew it would make money, and I knew they hired live music.
Right.
So it was, for me, that was a business move
Yeah.
more than I want the atmosphere. I'm a hippie at heart. I want to be near that music. I love this. It was the opposite. I could care less about the music that was playing, and it was all Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so dumb. This is, and I mean, I used to say stuff like, Jimmy Buffett is just reggae for white guys who are afraid of black guys. Like, really?
Right.
thought,
No, I get it.
You're not wrong.
I was like, this is just old rich white guy black music that don't actually want to hear black men singing. I mean, I really was hard on it, and I've changed my tune on that because
Terrible singer. Fantastic lyrics, especially if you go to some of his
I like
older
his
stuff.
Voice. His voice grew on me.
Yeah,
but all the music
no.
grew. Now when I hear it, it's nostalgic. When I hear any of his tunes, I genuinely enjoy them, and I'm like, man, I used to love that fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
And his pop hits, obviously, the Margaritaville and like all the big ones that are good songs. But he's got some other songs that cut you deep.
Oh my God,
cut you deep, and you don't even know it. And then most people don't even know those songs. My dad,
love Come Monday, Son of a Sailor.
Oh yeah, I mean,
What's
tomorrow we're singing "Son of a Sailor," or "Pirate Looks at 40."
Pirate Looks at 40.
Yeah, Pirate Looks at 40.
Yeah.
That is
I was
a
gonna say,
deep song.
your fucking
And that
shit.
hit me.
I'm telling you, I was 24, 25 when I worked at the restaurant, and I'm 43 now. When I turned 40, that song hit me different.
Yeah.
At 25, I could have gave a shit.
Yeah.
At 40, I went, oh my God, I get it. And I love proper reggae music, and I love black people. And
Right.
I also understand that what Jimmy was doing now. So I was very harsh in my younger take on what that was.
What he was and the movement he was and the start. I mean, there was other guys too. Don't get me wrong, but Jimmy was like
he nailed it.
the
He got
party drinking.
Yeah.
I
I think he
to the
invented
white
Key
guy.
West.
I mean, I think so.
I think he invented Key West.
He made a
You're not
movement.
wrong
I think he
there.
did.
Like,
I think-
that's
I
his
think-
whole vibe.
I think Duval Street was no different than your street until Jimmy Buffett walked in.
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to him as a little kid because my dad
Sure.
loved him. My dad and stepmom loved him,
Yeah.
and they were going to concerts all the time. So I kind of grew up with it. I'm like, I don't know anything about this, but I was listening all the time. I'm like, we could sing the lyrics, we could do everything. It's
Yeah.
like, and all it is about most of the time is about being drunk. Let's be real. But the other half of it is also being
There's some
just
good,
a good person.
There's some good sentimental stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some other good stuff too.
There's underlying messages.
Sorry, this
in
is
it.
flopping
No,
over.
no,
but
no,
you just
no,
mentioned
that's-
that, and
no,
I
that's
was wanting to
perfect.
run with it. But
No, there's deeper. You're right. The waters run deeper in the other songs.
Yeah.
But he was a smart enough business guy. He wrote a couple hits, and then he publicized those hits and made money on it. And
Yeah.
the
my God,
drinking bangers,
started a
Yeah,
franchise.
fucking
I mean,
drinking bangers is exactly what they
like you said earlier. I know we talked about this a little bit. Like, I would have cut my hair and like joined a boy band if I could have got that money.
Oh, if they'd have put a contract in front of me, I'd have.
Yeah. And it's like he kind of made that. I got to make these songs to get the money, and now and the people that followed up on him.
And that also
all the
being
same.
said, they're like you said, like they are party tunes, but like he still has heart in him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's still, he capitalized off of it, and he knew the hits would sell, but like he still put a piece of him in it as well. Like he didn't just
No, there's integrity in there.
Yeah.
And that's probably what made it okay for him to sell hamburgers and margarita machines and the business side of his namesake.
Yeah.
He probably slept well at night going, I wrote a couple great ones too.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there was a balance
He had a decent
there.
uncle too, but
But like to go back in a time machine and see things that we take for granted, like an insulated mug or some other thing that you're like, I can't believe that didn't exist at one point. And then someday some guy went, wouldn't it be great if we had an insulated mug?
let me cut a
Or
thermos in half.
Right. Or wouldn't it be great if we had you pick anything out of the closet? And it didn't exist until someone went, well, duh, why don't we have this?
Yeah.
And they just made it. Jimmy seemed like the guy who went to the Caribbean, went to New Orleans, went to these places and saw these cultures and went, why isn't there a restaurant or a theme or a party or a tour that's just this every night?
Or even music. He was like,
That's
or
what I'm
even
saying.
I love all his music.
And
They're
like some people
yeah.
will be like, fucking dumb margarita machine. But he's like, why can't you just make a margarita in your house?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
But to build a whole culture around it,
But
to go
just-
to to go to a beach somewhere where they do island parties and they've got the marimba music or the calypso or they've got the steel pan drum. I mean, you go to Jamaica, it's on the beach. If you go to certain places,
right.
that's just what they do. It's part of the vibe.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if I took like kind of half-ass Americana and country and all these other things that I know how to do, blend in some of these really fun things that I keep
Bring
seeing
the steel
at the
drums
places
in.
I love to go hang out.
Yeah.
I could basically hang out at my favorite places every night.
Yeah.
I went to 4 Jimmy Buffett concerts,
Yeah.
and it was the funnest parking lot party.
I bet.
So these were like mainly in like Pittsburgh, close by,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's just a big gravel parking lot, and you got everybody out there just jamming, like
Yeah.
girls in hoe skirts. I mean, the titties are popping out still.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
people are grilling out, and everybody's just getting bombed in the parking lot. Like,
Yeah.
you showed up as early as you could to get a good parking spot
And suck in more of that experience.
just
Yeah.
for that parking lot.
Yeah.
The concert, whatever.
Sure.
Good time. You went in,
Probably still great. Yeah.
sang some songs.
Yeah.
Everybody was super nice.
I bet.
Super nice. It was a chill time. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like if you probably went and saw like whatever. But that parking lot was. And most people won't even go in the concert. I think half the people in the parking lot
They didn't even have tickets.
didn't even go in the
They
concert.
didn't have
They
the
did
tickets.
not give a shit. They
Yeah.
just stood out there because that was for that.
Something
They were
I
there for the tailgate.
Yeah.
something I learned, and this didn't actually make the book. I'm just kind of thinking of it now, because of playing in Cheeseburger in Paradise so often and
Right.
constantly being around the pink flamingos and the palm trees and the neon lights and the the decor of that.
Right.
And I had only ever played in hard rock bands, heavy metal bands, things like that, kind of up till then.
Sure.
And lyrically, so again, I wasn't writing the mushy love songs to get the girl. I was
Yeah.
writing about my pain and I was
Yeah.
writing like Korn would write, like you don't know my
sorrow.
you don't know my anger, and you know like I don't like that would be kind of the venting in the metal lyrics.
Yeah.
Sure.
It didn't dawn on me until playing a Buffett Club that if you make art and write lyrics about pain, anguish, suffering, this and that, you're venting, but you're also locking yourself into singing those same lyrics every time you perform.
True.
So you're building your own thing that you have to live in. And I'm going, if I'd have got famous singing about wanting to kill myself or some version of teenage
Yeah.
angst and things like that,
Right.
I would be singing that now still, and I don't feel that way.
On
But
a-
that's what you want to hear me sing. And every night I got to sing about
'Cause then
how
on-
I hate everything.
On a day-to-day basis, you're just reliving your trauma.
Every time. Every time John Davis has to sing any of
Oh my
those
God.
songs.
I never really thought about it
But
like that.
you go to Jimmy Buffett Club, and I'm going, he wanted to party permanently. He wrote the song that he gets to sing where he's partying permanently.
Holy shit.
If I write happier songs and things about stuff
Yeah.
I love, I don't mind singing them every night. You know?
I never really thought about it
Because
from that like artist perspective like
now,
that.
if
like,
I put out a song that's about drinking with my friends, like I had this song called Delaware, which is the kind of like a Duval in Key West. Delaware's the main street in Put-in-Bay.
Oh yeah.
And,
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
the, and
yeah,
the chorus
yeah.
is literally, I'm stumbling down Delaware on a Sunday night. And it's just about going drinking with your friends on Put-in-Bay.
We were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
yeah, we've been there before.
So
Yeah.
I've had to sing that song for 10 years now because people like it. It's one of the ones people like.
Right.
And the question,
relate
the
and
question,
understand, yeah.
the question is usually like, do you get sick of that song? I'm like, no, because it reminds me of some fun times. And
Right.
the only thing that's hard is
mentally-
singing it. It's a little out of range for my key, so it hurts a little bit to sing as high as I did
Sure.
on that song. And I'm like, I wish I would have sang it a little lower or whatever. But I don't mind. I could sing that song till I'm 80 because
Yeah.
it's really fun and happy, and people like it. It
Gotcha.
puts
Okay,
them in
yeah,
a good
yeah,
mood.
yeah.
I'm glad that I
cool.
started making
Yeah.
that art early enough that I can still play it.
Right.
Because, like I said, if I sang the song now that I wrote at 19 because it got popular, and if I'd have made it when I thought I wanted to
Yeah.
make it, I would have really locked into some sad bastard stuff
Yeah.
that I've outgrown because I'm totally
Sure.
happy. I'm
Right,
good now.
right,
But I'd
yeah.
have to come out every night and sing
Oh,
this
yeah.
like terrible, like
Yeah.
like the dude from Stained, like
Oh, my
all
God.
the time my pain is that
but
guy
I
has to
thought that this wouldn't
right.
was for you.
Right. Now I'm not saying that's a bad song.
It was a fucking great song, honestly, back in the day.
But
Yeah.
it's a little dark. It's a little sad.
Right.
You can listen to it when you feel that way. He has to sing it every night.
Yeah. Or if you had a hit
Right.
like when you're 19 because you hate your dad. Everybody hates their parents when they're teenagers,
Sure.
kind of.
But then later on, you made up.
and then you have a really good relationship with your father at 40, and like you got to go out there and like, fuck you, dad. you never loved me. And he's sitting there in the audience like, I do. I support you now.
Yeah, like, hey, we're good now. Sorry
I
about
was
that
trying
song.
the whole time, but you're a dick.
Yeah, sorry about the song.
Or if Taylor Swift gets back with one of her exes.
Yeah, and then she
she
didn't
still
ever get back together.
Yeah.
And then her crowd goes, "You lying sack of shit."
You lying.
That
That song would mean so
We're gonna
much
need half a
different
billion
things.
back.
Yeah. We are
We're
never,
we probably are. It's probably
getting
gonna
back
happen.
together,
Yeah.
but we are now, and we're happy.
That'd be a remix.
No,
Be a hell of a remix.
Okay, so I got one more quote from your book that I loved more than anything. I think it needs to be on an inspirational poster.
That's our next thing. That's the first thing going up here then.
Yeah. Okay. And I fucking love this. And
I
it
didn't know
almost
it
like it's got that kind of vibe of like what is it? Notre Dame when they walk out of the locker room, it's
Yeah,
like
they
be a
touch the-
champion.
yeah,
They
be a champ, tap the-
tap the
yeah.
sign. It's and I'm gonna add just the sentence as it starts, but I'm gonna add B, and then it says less needle in a haystack, more onion ring in the French fries.
Oh,
And I
like
fucking
that.
love that.
I love
Thank you.
that. That's
I
a t-shirt.
fucking love that.
100% t-shirt. right
Be
there.
the fucking onion ring in
we
the
gotta
French fries.
bleep all this out. Remove this because
Like,
that's a t-shirt.
I
It's
got
gonna make a note.
goosebumps now, and I got goosebumps when I fucking read it, dude. I'm like, yeah, man, be the fucking onion ring in the French fries, dude.
Thank you.
That
line in
love it.
particular, as soon as I typed it, I jumped up. I was like, "That's a fucking good." I did.
Banger.
I did. There's every once in a while, like I said, I'm new to this as far as writing a story that long or like not knowing, is this dragging? Is this again? It's conversational, but it was one sided because there was no other guy there to bounce it off of.
right.
So it's like when you're doing a show like this, we know as long as it feels good, and then when it starts to taper, we're like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's when I'd end a chapter. I'd be like, this feels like I'm done talking about this now. And sometimes I'd end it with a little thing where I'm like, and that's how I button it up again. When I wrote that line, because it's like the last line of that chapter.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, mic drop. That's
Got
it.
it. Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the chef's kiss.
Fucking
That's
love that.
So no, thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm actually even thinking like a cool tattoo of like a little pack of like French fries, but like the little onion ring just kind of like hanging out in there a little bit, dude. Like
Hell
I
yeah.
fucking love that.
Be
That
that-
one
be that
struck a
person.
chord with me somehow, somewhere, and I fucking loved it.
The context was, if I wanted to play music as a living and especially with my own art,
Yeah.
why not go to New York? Why not go to Los Angeles? Why not go to Chicago?
Sure.
And then the context is, I don't know if I made the right decision, but I chose to stay near friends and family and where I grew up.
Yeah.
There's not as much competition here. I could really make a name because there's not as many people making a name doing what I do. And I could always fly to those places if I got big. You know, I could be from Canton and go perform it, and go whatever.
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson's from Canton. Maynard James Keenan is from Ohio. Trent Reznor's from Ohio. They did eventually go to Los Angeles or wherever.
Right.
But, I mean, you could. So that was the thing is, if I went to if I went to Nashville, which isn't just country, you can be any kind of singer-songwriter and try. But there's 100,000 really great people trying to do it too.
Yeah.
You're a needle in a haystack.
Right.
And if I become a really great singer-songwriter out here where there's not many,
Right.
I'm the onion ring in the French.
Yeah,
fries.
yeah.
So that's the context.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
On your own, and be that.
And I'm glad you elaborated on
Yeah.
that. I didn't want to go through like the whole.
No, but that's kind of the
Yeah.
breakdown. Is
But that's
Be that
exactly
good
what it was.
surprise.
Like,
yeah.
And
Or-
it's- and-
but that could be, and again, a lot of these ideas, they don't just have to be music. This could be at your workplace. This could
Yeah.
be in your friends group or your family. Like if you don't, and I hate to say like be the change, like because that's maybe a little too trite, but it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing what you'd like to have happen or the people you'd like to be around, be the thing. Like
Right.
like be the large thing that other people could at least go, well, at least we got this guy with us.
Yeah, and you don't
Because you
have
didn't
to
have them before, so you kind of have to take it on.
Right.
and
you
almost
know.
like that too. Like because I remember when I was younger, I had aspirations of being a chef in like a Los Angeles, you know. And it's like, well, why can't I just run a fucking restaurant here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, why can't I just like, why can't I be like the king of tea count? I'm still not.
No, but
Maybe.
you really could.
But
I mean, you
still,
really.
like-
There's a place out by me in Maslin that just made. I don't know if they got a Michelin star or maybe they didn't, but they made like one of the big magazines as
Yeah.
far as top place to go check out in the country.
Yeah.
And they're right down the street from me, and they're built in an old house. Like they renovated a house, turned it into a
Right.
fancy fine dining.
Right.
Good for that chef. Like good for his team.
Yeah, fantastic.
Like again, he could have went to New York and
Yep.
fought the fight and been amongst other greats
yeah.
where you could be really, really great and still not be working because there's so many other greats.
And would have been
Right.
hard to find and would have been,
yeah.
looked
and
over
then you got to
and,
pay
like,
that rent.
glanced
And you got
through
to
and,
try to
like,
make
yeah.
your name. Instead, he's got a place here, and now people do destination
Yeah.
dining, and they're coming to
Dude,
him.
that fucking onion ring, dude.
He's an onion ring in the French fries.
Yeah.
He's a Michelin star,
Yeah.
James Beard Award winning onion ring in the French fry.
There's
That's
so much you
fucking
can
awesome.
do and so much you can care about that like it's hard because right at the end of the day you want to get to that top.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to be that onion ring, but you also want to be either the top French fry, right? You're the top French fry. But the top French fry doesn't really set you apart. It does set you apart. Like I'm the best French fry in that bag. But then
That
there's
was
an
the
onion ring
saltiest.
going, yeah, but look, I did it down here, bitch.
Get that bit.
Well, if that ever happens, and the fact that everyone knows that because everyone's had that happen, where you get
Yeah.
an order of fries and there's a ring in it or something
Yeah.
like that happens, you're
Yeah.
like, I didn't know that I wanted this.
Yeah.
There's that feeling. Like I ordered the fries on purpose, but now that I see that ring, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of another thing is you don't have to conform.
Bonus.
You don't have to conform as hard as people would think that you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for instance, playing the Jimmy Buffett Club, I served some nights and I performed some nights. When I served, I watched what the other guys were doing because I was still really new to performing in that way.
Yeah.
So we had cover guys every night of the week. So 3-4 nights I was watching what the other guys were doing. Cookie cutters. They were cookie cutters. They were doing the exact same cover songs. They were
Yeah.
doing John Cougar. They were doing Brown Eyed Girl. They were even saying kind of the same like witty banter in between, trying to crack jokes. And I saw the reactions from the bar staff, from the the crowd. They were indifferent because it was so like, oh, it's this song again. Oh, it's this song again. This guy's like that guy last night. There's no difference between them. They're
Right.
doing well. They're singing the songs. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
But there's no individuality. There's no separation, and they're just clocking in and doing the thing like
Playing
it's
it
a,
note
like
for
it's a
note.
routine.
Yeah.
They're doing the routine like it's a scripted thing.
Not adding a little spin.
And
or,
so it was like I have a choice. I can be the fifth guy this week that sang Brown Eyed Girl,
Yeah.
or I can go, well, here's some other stuff that I love that I think you would too. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really a
Yeah.
brilliant. Here's an old B-side on a Duran Duran record that wasn't one of the songs that was a
Right.
hit, or like something weird, and it caught on.
Right.
It caught on enough that I was
Nobody wants that pipe through their head all day.
yeah. And it doesn't mean it was better
Yeah.
than what they were doing. It was just different enough that
Right.
people were going, oh, cool,
Yeah.
refreshing.
Right.
Even and especially the staff. Like I said, the staff were my homies. Like I gauged if I was doing well
Yeah.
by my team,
We're like,
and it
yes.
was like
if that grill cook
when-
comes out and shit, it's
Yeah,
like, dude,
when
fucking
I-
love that jam.
I play at Gervasi from time to time
Sure.
still, and they don't have a ton of turnover, so I've known a lot of the staff for a lot of years. I think they're open 15 years now.
My wife used to work there.
Their anniversary is 15 years now. The nights that I do play, there are certain songs that I'll pull out in a set, and I'll watch certain staff come out from behind a kitchen or
Yeah.
behind they'll
Yeah.
stop, they'll come out from the bar to stand there and watch or film with their phone, and I'm going, yeah. And that actually means more to me than even just the crowd.
I did this for you.
Yeah, well, and if I know it's one that they'll do it, I absolutely will play that song.
Fuck yeah. Fuck
Because
yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, you're the guys that I get to come back because you told the manager that you like me.
right.
Right.
The crowd is not filling out a questionnaire at the end of the night. How did you
Yeah.
like our entertainment tonight?
Man, know that.
Yeah.
The bar manager or the kitchen staff or whoever is going to book the group for the bars.
Yeah.
You know what they're doing because they're not always there. The talent people at those places that have live music, they're
Yeah.
not usually the ones that are always there.
100%.
They'll come in the next day and go, "What'd you think of the guy last night?" And they'll ask the staff the next day.
Yeah, because none of the patrons are there.
because they don't fill out a card. or
Well, he
nothing.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was polite. He was on time. He tipped well. I liked his songs. If you can do any of those or all of them, you're getting invited back.
Hell yeah.
That's it. Like kind, courteous, and you did a nice job, and you weren't a cookie cutter.
Worked the
Oh
pig.
my God, it kept me
Yeah.
working for years.
Right. That's awesome. So, back to the book. It's called a guitar called Harry V. Sorry,
That's happened twice.
well, my son's name's Henry too, so Harry V. and the cover band Conundrum. The Harry V. is that
Yeah.
guitar right there that you.
I was on a show last week and she called it Henry V, and I said, no, Harry V.
Henry the Fifth. I am.
That's what I was thinking. So yeah, I don't normally get to go on visual podcasts, so this is Harry V.
Yeah.
Which is short for Harry Vanderspiegel,
Yep.
and it's just a regular Acoustasonic Fender Telecaster. It's half acoustic, half electric. It is factory appointments. I've done nothing to modify it. It's not truly special in any way, but I like it a lot. And honestly, it played my sidekick in the story. I could personify this thing as my buddy and talk about it, talk to it, and essentially I'm talking to the reader through an inanimate object like my guitar.
Right. And so maybe it's in the...
It's like me and my pal going out to take on the world when it's really just me and my imagination.
But maybe it's later in the book, the part I haven't read yet. But do you talk about do you know what it is about that guitar that like strung a chord?
Yeah.
that just made it like this
instantly it felt really good to play. It sounds really, really nice plugged in. My shoulder has given out over the years. I've got a lot of calcified tendonitis and other things that I'd have to do surgery to make them better. So a heavy guitar or a bulky guitar I won't make it through the show. Yeah. Like it'll just my neck and my shoulder. So this is super light because it's hollow in the center. It's chambered. And the neck is thinner. It plays more like an electric. I can use lighter strings, which is easier on the hands. Yeah. And
sure.
Fighting off would-be carpal tunnel or anything like that.
When you first picked it up at the store, did you get it at a store?
I bought it online, but the book reads like I went there. Okay. But I did that a little more for effect. But
okay.
I bought it online.
Nice. But the first time you picked it up, did you have like a Wayne's World moment? Like,
kind of, yeah.
She has to be mine. Oh, yes. She will be mine.
Yes.
This is mine now.
And then somebody told you not to play Stairway.
Don't do Stairway?
It's awesome.
Man, I wish we could pan the camera over to a sign that says
no stairway.
No stairway. Denied.
Cassandra. Ancient Chinese secret, huh? But no, I talk about this in the book too. Usually when I buy guitars, they're just tools. I don't usually over dramatize having them. They do what I need them to do. They if they play well and they feel comfortable, that's going to let me work. That's going to let me do the show that I got to do. So I usually swap out parts, kind of like an old car or a project or something.
Yeah,
I switched out the knobs and the necks and the pickups.
In the early part of the book, you were talking about almost like a Frankenstein guitar that you made that somebody stole.
They did,
and I got it back. Able to pick it out of a lineup because she's like, no, that neck doesn't belong there.
100%.
Like that's not how that bitch comes factory. Like,
yes.
Damn thief.
Yeah. No, and I have a picture of me playing with it on Facebook that shows that that's my fucking guitar in a pawn shop right now.
I did all those things, and maybe that's another reason why it's nice. I put all the stickers all over it because that would show you it's mine.
Yeah.
It got its name from a TV show called Resident Alien.
Yes.
Which is a sci-fi show with Alan Tudyk, and I used to perform at a lot of Comic-Cons. I don't anymore. The company I worked for went under with the COVID. When the shutdown happened, they shut down and they sold to their competitor. But I still go to them as a fan. And Alan Tudyk came around, and I had already put on the "This Is Some Bullshit" bumper sticker with Alan's character.
Nice.
So this was already on the guitar, and I was like, I want to go meet Alan Tudyk, and I want him to sign his. I've never had anybody sign anything. I've always taken pictures and selfies with celebrities. And sometimes we were even hanging out like in the same hotel rooms, and like some of the stories are in there. Like we had a real good time with all that. But I never said, "Hey, write your name on a piece of paper for me."
Sure.
So I took this guitar and he signed it, Alan Tudyk, and he signed it, "Hey, dickhead," because I asked him to, which is something his character says in the show to this little 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
That I just thought was great. So he wrote, "Hey, dickhead." And he actually laughed when I asked him to do that. And then at the bottom, probably to disambiguate the fact that he'd said this and it looked like he was saying it as Alan Tudyk, he wrote Harry Vanderspiegel, which is his character. And I thought, that would be a bitchin' name for a guitar.
Yeah.
So I just started calling it Harry Vanderspiegel.
Nice. Gotcha.
And I've never really named guitars. I don't have like, this is my car's called Baby Blue. You know, that's whatever.
Never too fond of inanimate objects.
I've never really cared that much. It's just, it's just my stuff. Yeah. But I thought, well, that'd be cool if this was whatever.
He's definitely interesting. Yeah.
And I'd already started.
He's been in.
Yeah, I'd already started kind of journaling about it because again, I'm not used to just putting a guitar down and going, well, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. Normally, I fidget. I want something a little different.
Yeah.
This is nice, but any chance you got it with a thinner neck and a you do that a little bit.
These pickups seem a little weird.
Kind of, yeah. This was like, I love this, and then I did a show with it. And I was like, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. It's got all the sounds. I can play with the Rock Band because of the electric pickup. And make it kind of chugga heavy, like with the cookies. Like I'll be playing this with the cookies, and it'll be like pretty. Well, not that we do all that, but it's enough. It's enough. And then the acoustic sounds great for the solo stuff, and it's super light. I'm like, this ticks all the boxes, and that made me excited.
The one guitar to rule them all.
Yeah, exactly. So
nailed it.
I started journaling. I kept a notebook in the case, and I was like, well, I've never really documented my time with a guitar, like all the things I do with it, all the gigs, and wouldn't that be cool to write down the stories so I have something to talk about on a show or a podcast, whether it was my own or somebody's. And like I said, that the notebooks just started filling up. And then once I
did my 40th birthday, so I'm proud of that.
Yeah. And so then, like, would you almost say like that last little bit is mainly like a synopsis of the book? Like I said, I read the first bit. I haven't finished it, but like mainly just the guitar, the premise
the life, the premise is that it's a year. I did a year's worth of journaling, so you'll see dates. You'll see like July 5th, 2024. Here's what happened, and it'll kind of start with where we're at. We're sitting in this room and we're having a beer and we're talking things. But that reminds me of the time 10 years ago we were sitting in a room like this, and then there's a bit of a flashback, like in a film. And I'll tell you some wild story that it reminded me of. It kind of walks around the block a little bit story-wise, but eventually it kind of comes back to now. I'm wrapping up the show, and then this other crazy thing happened, and I'm going to go home now. A lot of it does play out still like journal entries and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was going to be the time frame. I'm only going to do a year, so that's the first year of this guitar's life with me, whatever. But it was really a chance to kind of write a memoir without being the focus of it, because I didn't want this to be like, how cool is Scott Paris? He's done this and this and this. Like even the intro, I'm like, I don't want to pat myself on the back for anything because I didn't do anything that great. In fact, I didn't do anything that you couldn't do or you couldn't do.
Right.
I just did it for a lot of years.
But a lot of people in your eyes.
But a lot of people did it, and I thought, so for me, it was like, if I share these stories, I think other people like me, even if they're not musicians, even if they just perform in other ways, they're going to see something of themselves in it, or maybe we've shared some experiences. Right. So I narrate this more than I am the star of it.
It is.
I tell the stories about stuff rather than list accomplishments, or this isn't like when Paul McCartney puts out a biography, it's like, I was the biggest guy in the world, and when I got my first Grammy, and when I sold my first $1 million house. I don't have those stories. So this is more like me and the guys went to this bar and then this fucked up thing happened. And have you ever had that happen? And why do I feel this way about it? It's more like that. It's more conversational.
And just from knowing you through work and now this podcast we've had, listening to you talk, one thing I like about the book is it's almost like I'm inside your head.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're trying to it's not you're really trying to tell false tales or be anything.
No.
Anything. It's literally like these are your thoughts. I'm inside your head, and I think that's why, because I don't really like reading a lot, but I can follow it a lot.
That's good.
Because I can follow it. Like,
there's no boasting. There really isn't. Like we talked about the character you've got to put on if you're performing. I'm not in there. That's not in there.
Yeah, I don't see that as a performance piece at all.
No, this was not a fluff to make myself look cool. I didn't think this would like get me some kind of big accolade like, oh, they're going to make a movie out of this. It's not that. It's just It's just a way to tell stories because I like telling stories and I think they're relatable. And I think maybe I don't know if I have a unique perspective on anything, but I'll say what I need to say, and then maybe other people can go, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't heard it said that way.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's like, fuck, I need to be the onion ring and the French fries,
Right,
bitch.
right. No, but I mean-
Steve already pulled 2 lines out of your book.
Yeah,
It's
But
like,
I
man.
love that because that's what I loved about lyric writing.
Yeah.
Trying to have a relatable thing that people, that was catchy. I'm not singing those words, but it has the same oomph to me.
Yeah.
Right.
To pull out a line, that's like
Absolutely.
the chorus. Like you just found the chorus of that chapter.
Yeah.
The hook that people might grab to.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
this is like we're in my van and we're heading to the gig and I'm just telling you a story. That's what you're just listening to me ramble as we're going down the highway.
It's that
going to a
podcast
bar.
5 where you're just
kind of.
bullshitting
It's a written
and having a
podcast
good
from one
time.
guy's perspective.
Yes,
kind of.
there
like
you go.
that.
Okay.
I like that.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And I'm not, like I said, anytime that I do kind of really, it's a first person, like, yes, this is definitely about me. I'm not always the good guy either. I mean, I don't pull punches. If I was the dickhead in the situation, it's in there.
So you're kind of
Yeah.
just putting yourself
So,
out
yeah,
there,
it's
being
not-
like, this
it's-
is just where my mind goes
Yeah,
when I'm
nothing-
doing this
yeah.
whole situation. Whether you agree with me or not,
Sure.
or relate to me or not, this is what it is.
Yeah, nothing was scrubbed to make me look like I'm always the good guy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just it's life.
It's
it
life,
was
yeah.
what it was.
But so we're a little long.
Sorry.
No worries.
No, you're
No
fine.
worries. No
You're
worries.
100% fine.
I just couldn't find a natural way to kind of try to close this out. I have one last question for you, real quick.
Yeah.
As
Please.
a rock star, how many cock push-ups can you do?
I mean, one's really all you need. One's all you need.
Man, I thought for sure you'd say 2.
If I could stay
If
away,
anybody,
got-
could do 2, I thought maybe you could do 2.
I got one more question.
yeah.
What's
Did you
that?
have yourself a damn good time?
What's that?
Did you have yourself a
I
damn
did.
good time?
I had the damnedest of goodest times, and
Did you have yourself a damn good time?
I had a damn good time. Steve, did you have a damn good
I
time?
had myself a damn good time. We hope you guys yourself also had a damn good time as well. Be sure to click like and subscribe. Do all the things. Follow us. Follow Scott Paris, Imaginary Cookies, all of his shit. Buy his fucking book.
Do you want to throw any major? You wanna throw any
Yeah,
major
where can they find you?
book wise, it's going to be everywhere on April 17th.
Cool.
So Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I mean, certainly all the online stuff. I'm doing 2 signing events. One's at Johnny's Music Shop in Massillon on April 5th.
Nice.
One is in Akron at Jilly's Music Room on April 6th.
Okay.
The one at Jilly's is a venue with a stage, so I might actually like maybe sing a couple songs, maybe read a chapter of the book out loud. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do at these events.
Yeah.
The one at Johnny's is going to be a little more intimate, so I think it's just going to be like a take pictures, shake hands, sign whatever you want me to say in the book.
Right.
But they'll be available to purchase there. You don't have to have one in advance. I'll have a stack of them there for all that stuff.
Any social media handles you want to?
I think everything's just my name. I think everything's just at Scott Paris.
There we go.
Just
I'm
Google
pretty
search
sure.
Scott Paris. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. But thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Love you, Cody.
Happy
Love you, Rob.
birthday!
Love
Thank
you,
you.
Scott.
Love you,
Love
man.
you.
Yeah,
Love
happy
you guys.
birthday, Mr. Big fucking 40 over here.
Welcome to the 40 Club. Dude.
Well,
Everything hurts all the time.
yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Tell your grandma about us.